drama. I whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I whip that thing out like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a girl Try to shoot the number, but I missed and trapped him in the ear. Oh no, oh. I try to shoot the number, but I missed and trapped him in the ear. Oh no, oh. Yeah, all around in my hometown, they're trying to track me down. Yeah. They said they couldn't stand on the slope safely. I just climbed right up. Nobody stopped me. Nobody chased me. Nobody cared that I carried a weapon. Aim for the head, but they turned at the last second. Oh, now, oh. I tried to shoot the down, but
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cults, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunning linguists, good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically, good guys. Conspiracy, sex, cults, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking, good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves. And if anything's acting weird with the video, it's totally my fault. I don't know if it's me or if it's running on my LTE. I am indisposed, but the good guys are where they need to be. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. How are you good guys this evening?
Ow! It's Thomas's birthday? What?
It's not really, but yeah. It's a thing. It's like a chat joke thing.
Oh, like
My
they did
birthday's
with
in
the
May, just
donut.
in case it comes in again.
Oh,
Birthday's in May.
okay.
Sagittarius too. Oh my gosh,
Donut? What
Can't you tell I'm a Gemini? Isn't it obvious?
Gemini.
You know,
Yeah, that
MMA
makes
fans
sense.
do that shit, like where it's just an inside joke in chat. So anytime there's like random like live press conferences on YouTube or something, and there's like thousands and thousands of people in the chat, people either write R.I.P. Brian Callen, and so like it's just it's just far off enough that people are like, oh my gosh, Brian Callen died, or they say, hey Dana, can I oil you up? Can I oil you up, Dana? And Dana doesn't even know what it means. We don't know what it means, but it makes us all laugh.
Oil you up? What else does that mean? That's pretty specific, though.
I don't know if it's his head or his whole body or just
Which
messing
head
with
are you
his-
talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, hey, Dana, how about we get some oil and oil you up? But it's just so weird to say to Dana White. Anyway. Hi.
How was the rave?
You guys, I'm driving back. I just bartended a rave, and I didn't know it was a rave when I signed up for it. It's like in South Florida, and I kind of like looked at the bands. I was like under the assumption that they were going to be like alt mixed with maybe like a reggae vibe. It was just asses. I never seen so much butt in my life. I have so many pictures and videos to show you guys.
Well, you
Like-
got to come to a bodybuilding show. You'll see a lot of butt there too.
Yes, seriously.
I'm telling you, it's more ass than at a bodybuilding show.
Damn.
Can you even fathom? And it's like if all four of us just wore a G-string, I saw that ass. If you make picture, if any one of us had a G-string on, I saw that ass tonight. But it was a really good time. The kids were sweet. The rave culture is really interesting now. Like I'm far away from it and feel like some of the stuff's the same. Some of it looks a lot like the Comic-Con Thomas and I did.
Is still a thing. Peace,
Plur?
love, unity, respect. Plur.
Plur.
I never heard that before, but
Really?
it is. Yeah, it is really.
It's like
I
when you
always-
do the whole handshake when you're getting a bracelet or whatever, and they tell you to do like the peace, love, unity, where you're like hugging hands. It's like a handshake, and then they switch bracelets. That's like the plur.
I have bracelets.
Hell yeah,
like,
you did.
I held hands with so many random people on drugs that I'm just like,
I love
I'm
you,
just-
Chaney.
I just want to get you a drink. What can I get you to drink?
Love you,
There's a
Chaney.
line of people behind you. What would you like to drink?
Blow in my eyes. Here's my Vic.
Yeah. Well,
Is that
I
still a
have
thing, or
glow
is
sticks.
that old now?
I
Oh,
probably
the
if I brought
fingers?
back the Blix, they'd be like Vicks. They'd be like, this girl's fucking magic.
I'm
But
just
no joke.
realizing now, every rave I've been to, I snuck into in the 90s. I don't think I've been to a rave outside of 1999.
Mm.
The last rave I
bet-
went to was when
me too.
1999, the New Year's Eve, it
Yeah,
turned to
2000.
2000. Y2K. That was the last rave I went to.
Yeah.
Me, it was like during the motherfucking animals during that time, where it's like really big. It blew
Like
the fuck
Prodigy sound.
up. Oh my god, like EDM,
That's what it was
hardcore,
today.
Martin Garrix, yeah. And then I
It
fell
was
into
like
the techno scene.
Rufio. and- I mean, I guess the guy's a
Did you
really
say
big
Rufio?
deal. I think that's the guy's name.
Like the guy from Hook?
Well,
Or
Oh,
someone
wait.
named after the guy
maybe
from Hook?
Rubio. Maybe Rubio. I don't know.
Rubio.
There were so I've seen like I don't even know how many DJs I watched today. But the light shows were awesome. The fireworks. They stopped dead ass at 11. Like the sound ordinance, like dead ass. He's like, if I talk any longer, I'm gonna get in trouble. Boom. And the music.
That
just
actually
stopped.
sounds like a rave that I could get down with. They're like, okay, once it gets dark, everyone go home.
I know. I'm like, oh, this is pretty. It starts at the doors were at 2, ended at 11. Not
Well,
even
we were talking before we started recording, but I talked to Emily Moyer. I went on Emily Moyer's show a week or two ago. Shout out to Emily. She's like one of the coolest people. Like the first time that I met her, I felt like she was just one of my friends that I had known for decades. You know what I mean? But she was talking about this group that I had never heard of before, and I think it's called Mayan Warrior. Maybe I've got some of that wrong, but it started as this art car in Burning Man, and everyone would go there to see this art car. But I guess it burnt down, or maybe they burnt it. I don't know exactly what happened, but it stopped being art car and began being this thing called Mayan Warrior. And they go in like road trips across the U.S. And sometimes it looks like they go to Miami. Sometimes they go on the West Coast. They go all over the place. But it's like a traveling rave, so that wherever they park and set up shop, there's a crazy rave there. But the reason that she was bringing it up is that they've got all of these like holograms or projections and stuff, and they've got music that goes direct, or like the visuals go with the music, but the visuals are all sort of like Mayan themed and patterns of like old world and
Dope.
central, and it sounded so cool. Like she was selling it.
It
She
is
made me want to
cool.
go to it for the first time in
Especially,
decades.
dude, if you're rolling on Molly or ecstasy, or you're doing some type of psychedelic and you're at these raves, I mean, you can have like godly experiences. You can have orgasms just by listening to music, like the bass and all of that. It's just a weird fucking experience. And I've been to many raves in my time, but like for like a 2-year period, like I binged. And honestly, I've had
Sorry
a
about that
lot
beat.
of
It'll stop in a second.
trauma releases, I would say. That's what I experienced. And that's why I like to go, because of all the trauma that I experienced and the dance that is involved with that, and feeling unified with all these people that are not there about drama. They're there just to fucking feel something. And you do, whether you're sober or on drugs, whatever the fuck the case may be. But I've experienced it in both ways, and you can experience those things both ways, depending on your energy, of course. But yeah, if you've never been to a rave, just go and experience one. It's a fun experience. It's never a bad time, unless you're a bad fucking soul. Then be
It took
gone.
me a while to come around, because the very first time that I took ecstasy, I got jumped by like 15 people. Like literally like
Oh my
15
gosh.
minutes after I ate it, and we were all waiting for it to kick in. So that one sucked. And then the second time I did it, my two best friends got into a massive fight where one of them like crushed the other guy's eye socket.
Damn.
And then they stopped being friends, and it turned into a whole thing. So for the longest time, I just thought it like was this drug that made you like maybe unpredictably violent, because I didn't have a frame of reference. You know, I was in like middle school or high school, and it took a
It was
while
meth.
to actually get it. No, I mean it was. I just hung out with a lot of very violent people that even when they do ecstasy, they're like, "Let's fight."
Wow.
How?
I don't
Especially
know.
on
I mean, I
on
had done it
E?
since.
Oh,
I have no guy, and this was back when I don't know who. Maybe there was something crazy in it, but this is back when it was like, yo, you got those blue dolphins, you got those Rolls Royces, those Supermans. You know what I
the
mean? But
Teslas.
no, yeah. Well, no, this was way before
Oh,
Tesla. But I mean that was sort of the marketing, and now it's just crystal. It's like, yo, you got that purple, you know.
yeah. It's so, I mean, I had so much fun back in my day. Like, I've never had a bad experience going out. Never had a bad experience during a rave. Never had, well, once, but I don't want to talk about it. Anyway,
That one time, yeah.
that one time.
For
Yeah.
me, this is
It wasn't
shrooms.
even bad. It was just the type of drug that I took. I thought it was Molly, but it wasn't. And I accidentally took meth, and I just felt like a fucking crackhead the whole time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill. And I knew him. He was my friend. He took the same shit that we took. And he came up and he's like, yo, are you okay? I'm like, dude, what the fuck did you give me? He's like, yo, I took exactly what you took, and I'm going to fuck my boy up and ba-da-da-da. He gave me my money back and he apologized, but like, I couldn't catch the beat, and I like to dance. I could catch the fucking beat. But with this shit,
You're like, I
whatever
want
the
to clean
fuck
the
it was,
floor. Why do I want to
I
clean so bad?
could not catch the fucking beat. I'm like, yo, what is going on? And my brother
Eating
came.
her ear.
He's like, Layla, what is going on? I was like, dude, go talk to him. Don't talk to me. Go talk to him. And yeah, just be careful when you're taking test your shit. But I don't condone it.
I'll condone a little bit here and there. Not meth though. Not meth.
No, not that. Yeah, no,
That would be a great podcast
No.
title, by the way. Just that time I accidentally took meth.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. I had a dream that we were doing Salvia because we've talked about it. This was just like
Yes.
last week.
Oh my God.
But then we were going to do Salvia, but then I ended
You
up
have
doing
to.
meth with you, Thomas. And I was like,
Not-
why
no,
would I do meth with Thomas? That's so freaking weird. I wouldn't, for the record, but that was like, it's a
I
dream.
don't think I'll ever do that.
I had I'm gonna put this in like super hard air quotes, but I had a friend that tried to get me hooked on meth like nonstop for weeks or months because he was like the yay dealer and he could make way more money because he worked directly with the Mexican mafia and he got
Yeah.
these like huge chunk and he would just come over and just break off like huge like 4 or 5 grams at a time and just leave it out. Be like, it's free now because he knew that anyone that he was getting hooked on, and I just never ever touched it. Like I had all the opportunity in the world. I don't know what it was, but I guess it was maybe not even the best reason. But I was like, that's kind of like, poor people drugs. Not in
Yeah.
I mean, I was living in Section 8 at the time, but I was like, I don't want to play the part too, right?
Okay.
I know I look the part. I don't want to play the part.
I the people that I grew up with, almost every person that I grew up with was incarcerated at some point. So they'd come out of jail and then they'd be like all about that. So like that's why I learned to play spades really well and everything. It was all, with all
Yeah.
these freaking people. But that was one thing, like there was one guy who would sit there and just freaking he had a party at his house every single night and fucking just handed out meth. It was insane.
Honestly, talking about drugs here, my best, favorite, most loving, amazing experience that I'll never forget is the candy flipping.
That's at raves, that's all I ever did. I couldn't just do X by itself. I had to do both.
Does it matter? Like, it's just any psychedelic and X is candy flipping, or is it only like LSD or something?
LSD
LSD.
and ecstasy together, and it was top notch Tesla E, and oh my god,
It's a mellow trip. It's good.
it was like I would put my hand on the wall, like I don't care who the fuck is around me. Y'all do you. I'm in my world. I don't care. Anything could happen around me. If I'm in my world, whatever happens, happens. But like, imagine this: like, you close your eyes and you're listening to music because we had like trance music on at the time, and you're just tripping balls. Like you don't even fucking know where are at the moment, and you close your eyes, and all you see is the music turning into shape, and each sound and each note becomes a color and a object. So you're in your mind's eye and you're just in a fucking world of colors and shapes. And it's like you teleport there through your mind's eye. It's so fucking weird. And then matter becomes like, let's say you're touching a wall, right? You're touching that wall and the wall doesn't feel like the wall anymore, and it feels like your hand is in the wall and you're feeling the matter of the fucking structure, whatever it is. It feels like you're in it.
I mean, this honestly sounds like it would work well with Salvia. Although I have never been in a room with anyone that was doing X that was also like, yes, and I'm also interested in doing Salvia. I would be the only one, so it would never really make the rounds.
It doesn't make sense to take them both at the same
I
time.
think so because Salvia does have this like unsettled, like unnerving
Not
disassociation that it
salvia,
can do to you.
but ecstasy and fucking acid. It's just a weird combo when you think about it, because that's more like a party drug. I mean, you probably acid too, but I've never partied on acid. But just the thought of them two together is just like, that's a fucking odd mix. Like, why would you even think of doing the two? But when you do the two, it's like, whoa. What the
Whoa.
fuck? Oh, whoa. Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah, make
fantastic.
candy flipping great again.
I recommend it once in your
It
life.
is great.
Once I've done it, and I'll just keep that experience in my soul forever. That's it. It's just a one-timer thing. I wouldn't
Why does
recommend.
everyone make salvia sound like it's so scary?
I know it
does
kind of
look
is, but I think I'm like one of the nation's biggest advocates of salvia. Maybe I'm just not as vocal, but I swear that I found it in 1997, and it was sold in a head shop, and it just said incense. That was it. And the guy was like, "Yo, you smoke this?" It was like there was no background information on it of any kind.
Isn't
But
it lavender or something like
no,
that?
no, no. It's
Like
from
a
the mint
sage, right?
family, but it's called Salvia
Oh,
divinorum, and it only existed. It still only exists in one place in the world, in this small little village in Oaxaca, Mexico. And this is the only place that I think it's ever come from. And even more than that, it's almost impossible to grow from seeds. So almost every single salvia plant is all just a clone of these mother plants that are in Mexico. There's no other way for
This
you to
sounds
really get
so
it.
Castaneda-ish.
It very much is Carl Castaneda-ish. And then it's not a party drug, which is kind of weird to say because almost every drug could technically be a party drug except for meth or except for salvia. Salvia is just not something that makes you social. It actually doesn't work very well at all with external stimulus. So music, light, even if you're going to be like hardcore about it, you turn all the lights off, you turn fans off. You don't even want wind to like brush against your skin because that'll take you out of it. Yeah, it doesn't sound fun because it's not fun, but it's like going on the craziest freaking journey ever. But it's
So
such a
don't go
personal
in it
thing.
with an expectation of having fun, but go in
Not
it
at
with an
all. No way.
expectation of trying to learn something, maybe. If you go in it with that mindset, maybe.
If you're
Like,
lucky, you can even bring some of that information back. It's the hardest thing for me to describe because this people tell these kind of stories about acid and shrooms and stuff, and I've done all of those, and it's nothing at all like salvia, where I took a trip once on salvia and I was a cereal box in outer space, but there was like no earth, and I didn't have a name, and I didn't have an age or a body or anything, but it lasts for all of maybe 20 minutes, and then you're completely sober again. Except for that, you're mind fucked because you're like, God damn, like I never knew what it was like to be a cereal box, and now I do. Like I have a
Cereal
frame of
box.
reference, and I know how like crazy and stupid and silly that sounds, but it's not the same as acid because even if you're on acid, you know that you
You
have
know
a
it's what.
body and that you're on a
Yeah.
planet Earth and there's another person. Salvia, like your senses almost completely turn off, and you're in a different realm. You know what I mean? It's and the other thing too is that it operates off these kappa opioid receptors and not your serotonergic receptors, so that it even affects the body completely differently.
let me ask you a question then. You know how during your regular trips of acid or shrooms, you know your reality, you'll snap back in, whatever. Do you have those moments where you can see that you're in a safe space or you just like completely
In
fucking
salvia,
gone? Yeah.
if you do, then you're already on your way back, or it's being ruined somehow. It's the
Uh,
weirdest thing. It's like it's almost like going into a dark room, and as long as you're in the complete darkness, you're having a completely out of body experience. But if someone just like knocks elsewhere, you hear a car alarm go off, or if like a light turns on, then it's like something that reminds you, oh, maybe this isn't this completely different reality, and like you'll slowly get sucked back into reality that way. But if none of that happens, if you can do it without any of this external stimulus or people talking or even thinking about, oh, am I a person again? Like if you just think about having an id or an ego, it's kind of the end. Like you're ending that experience for yourself, and that's one of the hardest things to do, to train yourself to not know about yourself. It
so
sounds weird, but it's a thing.
so those videos that you
Mm.
see of people, like two people like tripping and one of them jumps out the window type shit, is it because they're tripping with someone and their reaction during the trip is tripping the other person out in their trip?
I think it's
Is
both. I think also because those they have the lights on because they're recording themselves and lights are on, and that's in my opinion, that would be the worst thing to do is
don't
to
do
have a
it.
light on. You want to do it
Mm,
in like complete darkness. You want to close your eyes and like lay down in bed or something, a place where you won't be able to fall and hurt yourself, and
I
just
mm.
wanna try
freaking lay
this.
there for the entirety of it. But the second you try and stand up and move around, like you're introducing yourself back into the reality that we're actually in, but your mind is not here. So they're fighting each other. And the best way I've ever heard this described is that salvia shows you what it's like to be a two-dimensional object. So like we're
Oh,
here in the
shit,
third
okay.
dimension. You take a little bit of salvia, or a lot of it of salvia in my case, and then the first thing people will start to explain is that they're getting sucked into a chair, they're getting sucked into a wall, or some of them feel
You feel
that
flat?
their bodies being like spread out across like a huge infinite plane,
You
or
know
they're
what I
turning
thought
into
of?
a big spiral and their body's like turning into a coil, and they can't, like I've seen people once start feeling that. They'll start spinning around in circles, like really weird. And you're like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
it
trying to wrap
reminded me of
myself back. I'm trying
SpongeBob.
to unwind myself. Or like,
When he
Have you
draws that character in SpongeBob,
with the
when he draws
pencil?
that character with the
Yeah.
pencil and he comes out and he's like, oh, fucking going crazy. That kind of reminds me of like a whole
well,
Salvia.
that would be from 2D to 3D. But if you imagine what it would feel like to go from a
3D
third-dimensional object to a
2D.
two-dimensional, it would feel like you're getting smushed or squished or like flattened in a way. And I
What's weird
think
is
that
I have had that feeling without drugs before. Like I used to feel it all the time when I was a kid. Like
Same.
I would try to explain it. I was like, and nobody would understand what I was talking about.
Same. I've had
But
that feeling with acid too, though.
but
Feeling
what I was
super
going to ask
raw.
you is, have you done DMT? Because like, do you have the comparison of both?
Yeah, DMT, but only like the actual crystal. That I had a friend that like ordered the mimosa bark, online, and then went in his garage and used pool chemicals, but it worked. I mean, he actually did a really good job with it. But I haven't ever done ayahuasca before, and DMT is different in that you almost are. For me, I was always conscious I had a body, but it was weird because if I saw something or heard something weird with DMT, it was almost like I could actually zoom in on it and not lose focus, and not, the second you try and visualize it or look at something, it would just dissipate on anything else. And DMT, you can almost infinitely zoom in to like whatever you're trying to pay attention to in a way, but it wasn't the same as a disassociative. The only other disassociative that even came close, I think, is maybe if you went into like a K-hole. But even a K-hole, it's more of like a blackout and like an absence of experience versus being aware that you're not on the planet anymore. How else do you describe that to somebody that hasn't actually gone through, turning into a one-dimensional object? It just sounds like
I want to
something
try it.
like someone that's bragging on like the back of a school bus would say, but it was legit what it feels like.
Yeah, and it also like time becomes different. It's like time is not even a thing during these
Because that's the fourth
substances.
dimension.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know how to understand time. Yeah, we have hours and days or whatever, but still it's like a feeling. And I know this is part of our senses, and they don't want us to know about this because I believe that we have more than 6 senses or 5 senses, because there's the sixth sense, and that's our intuition. But like I feel like we have multiple. I feel like we have more than 6, maybe 10. And that's part of our sense, the sense of time, because sometimes it does feel slower, sometimes it does feel faster. Why? I don't know why, but they limit us to the idea of our senses. But I feel like that is part of our senses, the time aspect.
Well, if you ever seen how like slow motion footage works, like if you got a new iPhone and then you can go into like a slow-mo mode and record something and it goes like super smooth, and it, takes 10 seconds to play back 4 seconds, because the only thing that's changing is how much information you're recording between different movements.
You're right.
And this comes up to, this is one of the fascinating things about like a car crash, is that people will report time dilation in a car crash because they'll remember like the car coming at them, and then like as they get hit, the whole thing is over in 4 or 6 seconds, right?
Mhm.
But it feels like
Yeah.
an hour, and you can remember every single moment, and that's
Detail
because
too.
your brain is going into like this super preservation mode, and it's saying, oh my god, you're about to die, let's go ahead and analyze every single thing in this room. You turn into Jason Bourne, and you're just like recognizing every tiny little detail, anything that'll help you to not die in that moment. So then if you survive, it feels like it was this long amount of time, because it's one of the only times your brain is like, okay, ignore everything else. Like you don't have
Yeah.
bills at that moment, right? You're just like, how do I stay alive? Here's all these different details and pieces of glass. And this also explains why sometimes when someone's in danger and that they see coming, they can do all sorts of weird feats and like jump out of the way and not even realize or step over,
Yeah.
because you've got that extra sense, I
'Cause you
think.
pull back and
It's happened
like
many times to me.
me too. But it reminds me of the whole, because like a camera or whatever video is like 30 frames per second, isn't it? And we can only see 24.
Well,
Well,
film was
yeah.
20. Film was 24. That's not true though. Film
Okay,
film
no,
was
okay.
24. The number isn't that we can't see past it. It's that once you see something at 24 frames per second, you can like your brain can be tricked into thinking it's actually moving, and that's the whole foundation of animation, is that 24 frame rule. But like for example, 30 is standard if you're just watching TV, or 60 is also like TVs would run on 60 hertz, so it would update 60 times a second. But most footage, and it gets technical, but most
Okay.
footage
No,
was
it's
shot
interesting.
at 24 or 30 and then displayed on a TV that's capable of showing 60. So now if you're using like a computer at work or something, you move your mouse around as fast as you can move it. Sometimes it's not a completely smooth movement. It like jumps from one place
Yeah.
to another because it's only updating 60 times a second or 60 hertz. But now you
Well,
can get TVs that have like 240
Yeah.
hertz or something. And those
Good
ones, sometimes it has
refresh
that
rate.
weird smooth motion because your brain and your eye can see 240 hertz. There's every time someone has a theoretical limit, someone will make something that's twice as fast, and then people are like, "Oh, I can actually tell a difference." But there's like a
It's with
decline in
everything.
the actual amount you can see.
well, I heard this amazing theory that I love, and they say how our brain is, the one to capture everything, your reality, pretty much. But instead of it being an accelerator to make you see, it's actually a decelerator. It slows the speed of everything around you that is matter, that is moving at like speeds that we can't even fathom, and it slows it down to a point that we can actually see it for its structure, like at a special fucking frequency. I can't even put into
Frame by
words what
frame.
this guy said it, but your brain is a deaccelerator because everything is moving in such a speed of light because we are light and light beings. And this is like maybe what's it called? A simulation, and we're being beamed by this light, which may be the sun or the moon, I don't know, or both, and the stars. But I feel like it is so on point with the idea of how our atoms work and how electricity works and all of it working together with water and all of that. It's like a vroom center point. It's like the toroidal field place where everything can just happen. It's like a soft space.
This is just
Yeah.
gonna be like a drugged out high school like high talk, but like I
It is. I
wonder,
love it.
you know how mosquitoes or flies, they only live for a few days, but I wonder if it actually feels like, 100 years to them. And it's just that they're living, or hummingbirds is another example, that their hearts beat so fast. I wonder if they actually experience time that much longer. And they say the same thing about dogs. Like, does a dog feel like it's living 100 years, or does it just feel like it's living 20 years?
Yeah,
Because
maybe
there's
they're
also like that they don't have a sense of time, but how the hell would even one and even know that? How would you know if a dog can experience a sense of time or not?
I don't fucking
I would
know,
assume
man.
it would, because like if you leave a dog alone for a certain amount of time, I don't know. They feel the
Uh,
abandonment.
Have you ever heard that before, or is that just something that I've heard a few
Oh
times?
no,
That
I've
just
heard
dogs
that many
don't
times.
have any concept of time. Oh, don't worry, leave.
Well,
They
everyone
don't. They
says that
won't
kind of
know.
stuff.
They don't know the
They said,
difference.
yeah,
But it's
they're
even here in our
everybody
reality.
acts like they don't have any consciousness, but they do.
Like when you see a fan spinning, for instance, but we see its matter for what it is. But when you see a fan spinning and it's at a high speed, you don't see all 5 propellers. You're seeing this one. Sometimes you'll just see one blade. It looks like one fucking blade spinning around, and you're like, "What the
I love
fuck
if I'm
is
just like
that?"
really bored or it's like late at night and just like blink your eyes really fast and you'll like get little snapshots of it. Yeah.
Dude, like that's one thing like a practice by the dream hackers and stuff is the not doings, which is a Carlos Castaneda thing, but you're supposed to lay in your bed and you not do by like trying to look at the space between you and the ceiling or whatever if you're laying down or
Mm.
anything. Like
It's like a magic eye technique or
yeah,
something.
but you can't blink your eyes, so you go as long as you can without blinking your eyes, and it's weird what will happen. Like, I always do by my ceiling fan, so when you guys are talking about the ceiling fan, like, all of a sudden I'm seeing the ceiling fan, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's gone, and, like, these little bubbles and everything are floating everywhere. It's freaking
And
wild.
my eyes already feel like they're drying out just thinking
Well,
about
that's
staring at a fan
like,
and
so
not
you'll do
blinking.
it, and then, yeah, you'll end up blinking, and then you have to start over, but it's like the
It's
longer
bending.
the longer
It's
you practice, the
bending.
better you get.
Is it bending?
Not
Is it bending?
really. See, but
But it's bending.
if you were recording at like 200 frames a second and we were seeing it, then it probably would like it was bending.
it's bizarre. This fucking reality is bizarro. I still don't understand it.
Have you seen this one? Hold on.
Oh, wow.
But I'm just saying, it's like
I almost drove off the road. That was so magic.
Wasn't it?
I was like, is he waving a pencil in front of the camera right now? Holy shit. No, he went next level. He went full grand at them.
Just if you were here, I'd show you that I can also get your nose. It would blow your mind.
That's what I do to my
So when are we
dog, and he
hanging out
thinks I
again?
have it for like 2 months.
But the reason I brought up time was because of this whole fucking phenomena that I've been seeing on TikTok. And it's after this earthquake happened, I posted a video on my page. If you guys want to go check it out, got Bill Angel 333 __. It's all of a sudden this phenomena of grandfather clocks not working for years, right? And all of a sudden, after this fucking earthquake, something leveled out, and all these grandfather clocks started boop, working again. Just out of nowhere, shook the ground, leveled things out because grandfather clocks have to be on a very leveled space for it to actually work accurately. And another thing, when the clock started ticking, it was on the
The
time
right time.
that, like the right time. Like I look at the time on my phone, 11:45. The grandfather clock was set to the time. Amazing. Lots of videos on it on TikTok, and I'm like, is this fucking weird? Like, what is going on? What was that earthquake about?
Did you just ask if that's weird?
No,
Yeah,
not
it's weird.
No, it's not weird.
No,
We
it's
know
cool, but I'm just saying, come on.
Yeah, it's weird, but like it's not even weird for us anymore. Like we're on that level.
We're
Like
like,
what's
duh.
weird for
Yeah, of course it is.
So time.
Have you ever seen those videos where they've got a bunch of metronomes that are all synced to different rates, and
Yeah,
then
and
over
they
time
always
they just
sync.
naturally synchronize themselves?
Yeah.
Metronomes?
I
What are those?
Yeah, that's like when the old
For
school, when you were like
music.
at a piano or something, and it would just go tick tick
Oh,
tick tick. It keeps, and it's like a little thing swinging. Supernatural occurrence, obviously, but what's happened is that in like imperceivable amounts, they're all vibrating and transferring like that vibration to each other until they all kind of like snap into sync. But that, in my mind, that almost represents like another sense that you were talking about. You know, and it wouldn't necessarily be like you've got an organ to do it, but it is something that people will do. Not that they'll sway back and forth at the same time, but if everyone's literally vibing or vibrating at a certain frequency, it will spread to other people so that everyone in a room will kind of take to like an average.
That's the literal definition and like of a pendulum or egregor, because it's like it's a group think. Like group think happens like when more than one person is gathered together. Like we're our own little egregor, we're our own little pendulum right here, you know. But like you notice that people of a certain flock, like people tend to flock together and they get like similar mindsets and all of that, and that's just natural. Fish do it, birds do it. It's just, it is what it is. Like a school of fish, like not one of them is
Ravers
the
do it.
leader. Yeah, exactly. Not one of them is a leader in a school of fish. They all like are the exact same. They move at the exact same moment. Like it's,
I've heard this described in Rosicrucian books, and maybe Manly Palmer Hall had written about it a couple times, but that there's like a animal consciousness and then there's a human consciousness, and that human consciousness evolved at some point beyond animal, but an animal consciousness is sort of that if there's a flock of birds or if there's like a pack of wolves, that pack of wolves itself, the pack has a consciousness, so
yeah,
that
it does.
the collective consciousness thinks and makes decisions, and they just automatically affect everyone in it. But that humans don't have that anymore. Like they don't have
That's
like
not
a pack
true at all.
consciousness.
Just think about it. Think about how we're always us and them. Always. Whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's I'm a Raiders fan and you're a, you know, the 49ers fan. Like people have a tendency to flock together and do the us versus them thing. So there is the group thing. And then people like in a stadium, like the manliest men will end up like taking off their shirts and painting their bellies and acting like fools and stuff. You know, like they act insane and they wouldn't do that in their regular life. And it's because they're like pulled into this power of this egregore.
Well,
So humans do it too,
the
completely.
there's a book that I've talked about a few times with Dona, and I think even Juan. I think we did a whole show. Gustave Le Bon, The Crowd. I think it's from 1886 or sometime in the 1880s, and it was also the reference for Hitler's Mein Kampf, I believe. He just kind of rephrased this entire book, but he makes a really compelling argument, not in like an animal consciousness way, but that if you get any group of people together, they form an egregore,
They
and then
do.
as soon as that group gets together, the end of like if you were to pull an individual out of it, you've got the individual again. But the second they go into the group, you no longer have the ability to communicate with that individual. You have to talk to the entire crowd, and that
You see that
egregore
in
of the
social
crowd is completely different.
Yeah, you see it in social dynamics all the time. Like with friend groups even. Like somebody might be your friend on the outside, but when they're with their other group of friends, they're a
Right.
part of that group. It's just that is a human nature. So humans do it too. Like
Is it
we're
a
just not
human
aware of it.
nature
We
or
think
is
we're
it a
more
human
evolved.
condition?
Well, it's not even that. It's really these are energetic structures and people don't realize that it's almost you can call it scientific, you can call it etheric, whatever, but it's a energetic structure that is meant to take your energy because any one of those things, um, church, church, even going to church, you think it is all good and everything, but it's not. It's taking your energy on many levels. Like, okay, I have to get up early and get ready and go sit in church and act like this and then prepare food. And then I have to go on Wednesday night too. Like you have prices you have to pay in order to belong to any one of these groups. You
You
lose your
guys, I'm not
individuality.
kidding. Every single person had their ass out at this thing. And it started with one
It's the ass
person.
egregore.
But it's like there was even somebody walking around with a sign that said, "Show me your butthole."
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah,
That's a
like I'm
whole
like,
different level.
that is
Yeah.
not at all what I want to say. I will let you guys know I did not see any
DJ?
butthole. But there was also like how you always talk about Burning Man. Like Burning Man doesn't have a currency of money. And
No,
so
it's
like
energetic.
this like whole thing, they have like clips, like a whole bunch of clips on hats and on things and different bracelets and different necklaces, but it's all different currency. And so it's just like, oh, how you guys are saying different aggregores, it's like you can see like the same way as the Comic-Con that I experienced with Thomas. It's like there's the anime, there's the people that are furries, there's the people that are old school comic people, there are just like people that are, no joke, the total perverts that are like, yay, I can just be a grown man in a diaper here.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
that
much.
too.
Drool.
But there is something that I'm like, when I was there, I really thought like whatever this Dionysus Maynad energy is, like this is something, not that it's not fun, but the goggles that I have to witness it as, being sober, being a bartender, um, but also just being how educated that we are now in things like this is not that it's a bad thing, but it's like, is this a good thing?
Well, every egregore is innately bad. But you can't avoid them all. Like you have to belong to them. So it's having the awareness. But most people aren't aware. You get involved, and that's when you're like, oh, Trump is so much better than this guy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't vote for Kamala. Like that's what happens. Like people get so freaking they identify as that thing. They become the structure instead of remembering that these are still humans, all of them.
There was a TV series, I think last year. It was called Class of '09, and it had Kate Mara, and it had the guy that's in Atlanta that plays like the rapper. Anyways, the premise of the show, they kind of jump around in time a little bit. It goes into the future, it goes into the past. They all work for the FBI, and at the end of the series, and I'm not giving any spoilers here. The end of the series, they start thinking about, because they've implemented AI and they're trying to go back into the past and figure out like where did we go wrong, because the AI forms sentient. It's kind of like the same story that you've heard a million times where AI gets like its own consciousness and it starts acting on its own. But someone makes the point of that maybe this isn't the AI, maybe the FBI itself has formed an egregore, and that the FBI as an egregore, it starts almost realizing, oh, humans are trying to change me or get rid of me, and it as it has its own sort of like self-preservation system,
It does.
regardless of technology and regardless of AI. That even if computers didn't exist, that the concept of the FBI or the CIA or something might fight to stay alive, independent of humans.
Because that's the thing, is that they're almost like quantum physics, like they talk about the egregore and or pendulum or whatever, but that's what they basically say, that these energetic structures are, they can't say they're not alive. They're almost like a living entity.
So how do you kill an egregore?
Drop importance. That's all. Like all you can do. You can't necessarily kill it for everyone, but you can kill it for yourself, and it's dropping importance and being able to laugh instead of taking things seriously. So it's literally like becoming the master of like not allowing it to polarize you. And so it's like the law of polarity, because think about it, pendulum swings both directions, and also what does that do? Hypnotizes you. So you're like in the power of the pendulum. You're not in the power of you. You're being hypnotized the whole time.
What the fuck is the power in a
Doesn't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Hello?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, something
Oh,
happened.
I didn't know if I was
we
here or
heard you
not.
say, "What
Well,
the
I
fuck
didn't
is
know if I
it?"
I didn't know
You're
if
here,
I interrupted
Layla's
Layla.
not.
Oh,
Whoa.
I didn't know if I
What?
interrupted.
What?
What's happening? That's not me, is it? That mouse?
No, it's
Is
Layla.
it?
She sounds like a mouse.
What?
Oh my
What just
god! What
happened?
the? I think Layla
Did
turned
you
into
guys?
Britney Spears.
Did you dose us with something? And then there were two.
Firm, 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 firm.
What up, Thomas?
That was wild. Well, I guess it's just a normal episode now. We needed
Yeah.
we needed some sort of audio issue to happen.
We did.
Can you guys hear me or
Something.
not at all?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can hear you totally.
Okay, I know. I was gonna ask, like, is time itself an egregore? Is somewhere along the line, that's what they convinced us of. That's the Saturn of it all, the Chronos. They've convinced us that time is like the God. Even though we don't notice it, time is our God. We fear death the most and put this value and this watch on everything.
I think because this reality is material, because on the other side of reality is like the dream space or whatever, like it's pure thought. Everything that you can think of is there, right? But on
But the
this side, it
pendulum
has
doesn't swing in just
material.
two directions. That's
No,
the whole
definitely not.
misnomer of the
It
whole
can be
thing.
more
It has
than
an
two.
infinite amount of swings.
Yeah.
Like it literally is a circle. So it can swing in an infinite amount of places. So we are just under the assumption in this reality that time goes in one direction. What about if at some point it Benjamin buttons?
I think it could, but that we're under cause and effect here. Then that has time, right? Because cause and effect doesn't happen without time, because we can manipulate matter.
Right. So maybe it only exists
Matter
when you're in the
causes the time
material
delay.
realm. Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
because
right.
matter causes the time delay.
Or if people like hit a point, like let's say tomorrow we were one day younger and it just worked in the opposite direction. And then things healed, even things in the ground. This is why people kept their souls alive. Like they wanted their whole body preserved because they knew one day the time went backward.
Reality transurfing teaches you that the biggest pendulum that we're all sold from the time that we're born is that you have to grow old. That you really aren't subject to time, but we're conditioned to think that by not only what we observe, but what we're told. So we're told, and then we observe it, and then we keep creating that reality. And Layla's back, by the way. I don't know if you can put her back in or not.
I'm
Try to in a second.
morbidly curious to see if the Minnie Mouse voice is
I
still
know.
up.
Me too.
If it was just high pitch, it would actually be fun to just see how long we could just go with it.
I know. If it made sense.
The same thing that you were talking about too. Hey Layla, you're back,
So weird.
and you sound normal again. I
Yeah.
think. Okay.
I sounded like Minnie Mouse.
Yeah.
It was, but it
My
went like
concert
super
hurt.
fast too. It wasn't just high pitched. It was like playing whatever you
Time
said
sped
at
up
200 speed or
What
something.
the fuck? And you guys sounded like fucking
because we're
demons.
fucking with time right now.
And I'm
Oh, that's
like,
weird.
Right? That's weird. She
I'm like,
literally sped up.
She
in
sped up
time.
so fast that we sounded slow.
I was like,
Man, we're
what the
magic.
fuck? Well, I wanted to ask, what is the power in a laugh, that chemical that happens within us? What is that naturally comes out of a human? Like, where the fuck does that come from? And I always wondered this, like, humor, but we laugh, but it's like a whole body fucking spasm sometimes, and sometimes you don't even make a sound and laugh until you can't breathe, laugh to tears. And it's like, what is that? And why is there so much power in that laugh where you stop the pendulum from choosing that or that?
Because it breaks the spell of importance. Like when you laugh, like I laugh when stuff's
Yeah.
serious all the time. Like when my kid got in trouble for like writing a letter at school to another girl, and she had written like Sonia is a bitch, right? And so she's in the principal's office, and I get called to the principal's office because I'm teaching, and I literally had to turn my back to the principal and like walk to the corner of the room while he's talking to her because I'm sitting there going like I can't do it. Like I thought it was so funny. Like I couldn't keep a straight face and look at her and try to be sober and everything, but I mean,
Yeah, it's serotonin and these
Do you think
chemicals.
tears are similar though? The same? Like, where do they even fucking come from? What makes you sad sometimes that you can't even control it? You're like, why did I get so sad just now? How did that have so much effect over me?
It's
especially
so
when it's out of the blue. Like, do you ever just
yeah.
cry and you don't even know why you're sad? You're like, I don't even know what's wrong.
Whenever I
like
take
You guys
Like
do?
RSO,
since Mercury retrograde. That's how my life's been. I just am like, I have huge, like big tears in my eyes. Like I don't remember when I had this huge of big tears.
Crocodile tears.
the worst one for me is when you're watching a movie and you know that they're gonna emotionally manipulate you. The piano's starting to come in. You're like,
Yep.
oh, this is the
You
part
hear
you're
the
gonna tell me.
score.
But then, like, even knowing all of that going in, it can still affect you. It can
Yep.
still plug those. And I don't know. It's weird because you can see it coming, and it's like, why can't I prevent this? But I guess if you laugh or you start mocking it for doing that, maybe you can like break that spell a little bit. Does this mean mockery is like the highest form of battling egregores? Is just to mock
Yes, it
everything?
really is
Dude,
that, unless you can just be stone cold sober and not let it affect you. But really, like laughter is one of the most powerful
Hmm.
things to break it. And it's not going to break for
Laughing
everyone,
to
but it's gonna
tears.
stop taking your energy. It won't take your energy because that's what it does. That's how it grows
so
bigger and
weird.
bigger. Is it eats the energy of the people. So that's the literal definition of loosh. Like these energetic structures exist because everybody puts their energy into it, but then it keeps freaking feeding on it. So the longer, and it doesn't matter which way you push it, anybody pushing it gives it energy. So if you sit there and battle somebody like, fuck you, you're stupid, you're a Kamala supporter, then you're just pushing the pendulum still, and it's still like taking your energy. It's
Atheists, you're on fucking notice. You can't tell me out there, you fucking, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. You fucking atheists out there. The fact that you can laugh and that you're this being here that you can just laugh and make mockery of shit, like this whole design of it all. You're going to tell me that there was no fucking designer to this? You're going to tell me that there was no creator to this fucking masterpiece that you're living? You selfish person, you peoples. Like, really, there has to be, it can't, like, I cannot fathom
Fuck
this
out of
idea
here.
that we came from this nothingness and all of a sudden I can laugh and cry and love and all this other stuff. You got to be out of your mind. You literally got to be out of your mind, or you really fucking hate God that much. The creator, whatever you want to call it, whatever the name is. Right? Am I the only one?
Dios.
Like, come on. It's impossible to
I don't
just be random.
like it's y'all. You got to do is look at the math of it all, because if you are really like that scientifically like inclined, look at fucking fractals.
This
Like,
is
come on.
off topic, but on topic a little bit. Just with y'all, how would somebody of the opposite sex know that they felt like they were born the wrong sex? How would you even fucking begin to even
Dude.
fantasize what the opposite like? I feel like I was born a woman. Do you feel like you were born a woman, or do you feel like you were born how the TV tells you a woman is?
I was created in the wrong body. Who created you? My mom and dad.
Bruh.
But what
Like,
created your
yo,
mom
but
and dad?
what wrong body are you fucking talking about? Like, what wrong body? Like, it is the craziest. It's crazy. It's like the wrong body thing is just so they can convince people to download their souls, so we'll all be Westworld in a little red ball that they just put in a robot.
More loosh, right? It's just more loosh
Yeah.
feeding. Because there's also the even smaller niche of people that believe that they belong in like a body that can't walk or doesn't have legs, and then they'll like go
Yeah.
that extra mile and actually just have their legs amputated or something. And they're like, thank God, I finally feel like the body I was meant to be in. Yeah, it's a new way of being, I think.
If you are a parent and you have, like, I feel like I heard Joe Rogan say this in the last 48 hours, and I was like, big up your blood clot self. And you know how hard that is for me to say to Joe Rogan, because I just felt like it was like so well said. If you're a fucking Hollywood celebrity and you have 3 children who are all transgender, you have Munchausen's by proxy. And I was like, it is Munchausen's by proxy if a fucking parent it has more than one transgender kid. What are you up to?
Brah.
Sorry. So
No,
they're
why
on
are you
notice
sorry?
too.
Don't be fucking
Because
sorry.
I'm screaming
Fuck
and I have
outta
no
here.
idea how well you can hear me, but I
We
can
can
hear
hear
you
you
guys.
beautifully.
Chef's kiss.
There's someone in the
Beautifully.
car next to you, like, what is this lady ranting about?
Well, it's probably night, right?
My
It's
Uber
dark.
driver thinks I'm insane. JK. Yeah, go back
No,
to
it's
it.
wild.
Sorry.
Wild.
I
Y'all,
do love laughing though, you guys. I love laughing through my tears. I love laughing so hard I cry. I
yeah.
love to laugh. Like I'm I'm that drunk guy that Mary Poppins goes and hangs out with that I can't get off the roof
The
because I'm
drunk
like,
uncle.
woo! Yeah, it's
That
amazing.
Chaney, you and I laugh at each other sometimes and can't stop. So
That also represents a archetype of yesteryear that I think we desperately need back. Is that in Disney movies and any movies up until maybe the 90s, it was acceptable to have this uncle with a drinking problem, but was like part of the family still, and that his drunkenness was something that like the kids could like laugh at and stuff. Now you got a drunk uncle, and it's like, oh my God, that's so sad, that's so horrible. You know what I mean? But it's not really celebrated as much. But we lost out on this crucial archetype, Mary Poppins being just one of many different examples of this.
I had a drunk uncle. He was really fun when we
I
went camping.
love my drunk
He would let us,
uncle.
yeah. Oh my
Like
God.
if shit hits the fan, my drunk uncle will get anyone through a zombie apocalypse.
That's how mine was too.
That's a sitcom waiting to happen. Just my drunk uncle. And then to get canceled because it's going to have some kind of problematic issue.
So-
Not to be mistaken with my funny uncle.
I want to talk about, I know you guys hate it, but I want to talk about crypto for 1 second. And if y'all are interested in making some money right now, just hit me up on X.
What are we pumping?
Okay, it's called Bigfoot. All right, and its release is on Sunday. And if you want to get in now, I have a website where you can get in. It's Solana. If you're into that, let me know. Hit me up in the fucking X. I'll link you up with all the people who are like part of the whole system and part of the whole project, and they're very cool people, very trustworthy, I know one of them personally. Bam is one of them. Armin is another one. He's my brother. And I'm telling you, this project is fucking phenomenal. It's already 219 sold the last time I checked. No, we're not gonna rug. No. That was the other team. I don't want to talk about it right now, but that was the other team. This is something separate. This is no rugging shit, no Haktua shit.
Yeah, what do you think about the Hawk coin?
Right now, it's at a low. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust her, especially after that move. But it could be a move where like people could buy right now, and then all of a sudden something happens,
I
and boom, it could shoot up.
But the whole thing, I think that's so interesting to me is that the day that she did Haktua was June 9th. So it was on a 6-9 ritual. So to do the Haktua was 6-9 ritual. Haktua before that happened used to be a sound that you could just look up that a certain religion would spit at Christians. It used to just be a sound that everybody knew was that sound, Haktua. So then on 6-9, Bitcoin was also at 6-9. So Bitcoin was at 6-9K on June 9th, the day that Haktua did that. The day that Haktua girl releases this fucking coin and rugs it, Bitcoin hits 100,000. So while everyone's paying attention to her, no one's following the amounts of wallets that are pumping through Bitcoin trying to launder all their fucking money. So I just have a feeling, you guys, I don't know. I like one of these coins are gonna rug. And I think when they talk about like suicide weekend and shit, something tells me it's gonna have something to do with a crypto coin rugging. Like a big coin that everybody's been sitting on diamond hands for years because it's the 7th biggest commodity in the world right now, Bitcoin. That's crazy. So
Well,
I don't know. Something is weird. No one knows who the maker is, and it's just like holds so much capital and something to do with the Haktua girl. I haven't figured it out. Something to do with the 6-9 of it all.
Did you
But
say
anyways,
Suicide Week? Is that a thing
Suicide Weekend. Yeah, it's
Layla, you
in
explain it.
December?
it's a thing.
Yeah, it's no, you're better at it, Chaney. You're way better at it. You know it more than I do. I'm
It's a
not gonna
Delta.
front.
But
She
like
knows.
all of the Q stuff, like it one of the things in it is that there'll be a day because like pretty much the cabal is gonna fucking do everything it can to not fall. That's everything about it. So it will be a day that my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. And that the president will tweet out. It never said what president, it just said look to Twitter. And it never said what president it was. But then it said like the whole something about the 10 days of darkness was all attached in the same time, but suicide weekend. And so I always thought suicide weekend for like since 2017, 2018, whatever year, I always thought suicide weekend was going to have something to do with like Diddy files dropping. But I feel like it, like financially, it like what if Wall Street collapses? Take the crypto out of it for a second. Just think of how many people's 401ks and how many people's retirements and how many like the Build Back Better squad has no intention on fucking leaving peacefully. Like we haven't seen nothing yet. I'm still waiting on Bluebeam. So I feel like they wanted to starve us out. They wanted to make everything unaffordable for us. They wanted to get us on a universal income. And so to do that, they got to collapse more than just my small business. They also got to collapse the corporate company man's 401k. And so to
Yeah.
do that now, or it could be somebody's Bitcoin. Think of how the people that made money in Bitcoin really think of how long they've believed in this project. This isn't a like people that jumped on fucking in the last year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and so most of these coins, and if you're watching what's happening, in my opinion, on Bitcoin, is it's crawling up, but as when you'll watch when it crawls up, it's all the other coins take a hit, and then when Bitcoin's top shatters off, all the other coins crawl up. But it's just making me question because 99% of the world's wealth still belongs to 1% of them. So what is happening with all of where's the bull running from? Your
Well,
499 eggs?
Well,
here's
take
what I
back to
see.
you saying crypto. Like remember what you used to say about crypto, Cheney? The dead of it all.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
also think this real quick. 9/11, there was a huge storm off the coast of New York. I don't believe planes hit those buildings at all. And I do believe thermite happened to blow out windows and make some movie theatrics. But more likely, I believe a laser hit that building and melted the steel from the inside out. And I think it did. I think it bored a hole through another building. I think building 7 fell into its footprint too. I think building 6 is the one with the whole building, all these. But I think the ionosphere energy is never created or destroyed. It is only gathered or dispersed. And so to me, to have an energy weapon, like a Tesla style energy weapon, you would need a big storm with a lot of lightning. The same
Yeah.
as we watched this storm just break up off the coast, or like that huge storm that was going to hit Florida. All of a sudden, this huge line of twisters and lightning came off of it. And that's how the storm shattered. The energy still has to go somewhere. So something about the crypto, can it be harnessed? What kind of energy? Like when you're farming coin, you're just farming energy.
Yeah. Well,
So it's just,
here's
there's something more to it.
yeah, here's where we're at though. You know how we had the internet stage and everyone getting used to like the whole idea of the internet? This is where we're at with crypto. And I think my brother said it. That's where I got it from. And it made so much sense to me when I heard him say it. It's the beginning stage of what the future is going to be like. And not everyone is aware of it right now, but slowly, slowly people are listening. Crypto, what the fuck is crypto? And then people start sharing the information and other people start buying. Like, people that have no idea about crypto, I've been talking to people about it and just giving them ideas. They have been buying it. Slowly, they're getting into the field and they're seeing the potential that it has with the smart moves that you can make with the people that you interact with, of course. But this is the time where you can have major, major transfer of wealth that is happening right now happen for you. So this is why I speak on it, because this is the future. But if you can get in now, it's so much better for you. So you can be part of the game, but be aware at the same time, because we can't fight it. This is going to be the future. Like, there's nothing we can do about it unless something fucking cataclysmic happens. This is what we're going to be expecting for the next generations. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're in the beginner stage. There's a lot more coming.
Oh, Thomas, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm like, could you
I
hear
see a
me?
future when like kids are going to school and like every kid now has their own coin. Like it's like that will be only like the lame kids don't have their own coin. You know what I mean? Like that could almost be the new social credit sort of system, or at least the cool way of doing it is like, do you have a bunch of Layla coin? Oh, no one's holding Layla coin anymore. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
could actually determine your monetary wealth, but
your
also
wealth.
just you know, you existing.
Oh my God. Everything's gonna be on crypto,
Because right now,
yo.
you know, anyone can technically make like a Solana coin. So you could just be like, well, I've got an Abbie coin. Oh, well, I've got a Paranoid coin. Like everyone could just have their own coin. And that, I mean, everyone has their own screen name, right? Everyone can have their own unique name. So it seems that it would just scale indefinitely.
I mean, okay, someone said I won't co-sign my own enslavement. I had that same mentality, but what has it done for me? Nothing but make me suffer. And with awareness and playing the game, because like in the Matrix, like you step out of the game, you come into your awareness, you
What is the deal? It's Mercury retrograde. You don't sound like. Oh,
Oh,
now she's a mouse again.
that's so weird. I didn't notice. Did she like hit it with her hand or did it just happen?
It just happened, I think.
You know, this
I
is
don't know.
it's like, it's just another currency. Like when dollar bills first came out, people were like, that's so stupid. You're going to trust that paper money? I'm going to always carry
Yeah.
silver. Like, it's just another form of currency. And where it's like correct, like only 1% of the world uses cryptocurrency right now. That's crazy. Like, if you really think about it, like inevitably, even if the world hates it and it doesn't grow all the, you know, catch all the way on, we can at least agree 5% of the world is going to always stay with crypto. So even if you got in right now, you'd still be early.
Yeah.
Like it, I don't know. It's like, to me, it's like I have so many conundrums about it. For every person that makes a coin for real, like I hate it. And then like I hate everything about the digital and the ID and they can, you know, they could just take this from me. I know so many people in the last 5 years that really, because of political stuff, had their bank accounts locked out. So I just feel like they that part is already past. Your social credit score, probably if you're even watching this show right now, you're at,
Yeah,
you're
sorry.
at you're at least going to a re-education camp. You might miss the gulag, but you're going to the re-education camp. Like you might not be at full, with the uber bad guys picking up trash. There won't be any trash.
But hey, it's got to be more fun with all the rest of us there. So
Oh, Layla's
Layla's
back.
back.
May get her.
The internet doesn't want me to speak today, apparently. Well, fuck you, you fucking motherfucker. Okay.
They don't.
Whoa.
It doesn't know you well enough.
God, you're on fucking notice, internet.
Now that you're back, I'll be right back. So
Ay, ay, ay. We'll see for how long, huh? How long this will last. I'm on a frequency apparently because I'm on fire, like literally.
Oh, how's the business doing?
It's doing good. I mean, it's slow season right now, but I mean, people are coming in. They're loving the food.
Why is it slow season? Because I would assume that a whole bunch of people would be like, snowbirds and around this time.
No, not really. No, only during the holidays, like they'll come when all the kids, because it's all kids, like families. It's not like party vacation spot anymore. It used to be when they had Club La Villa here and they had Girls Gone Wild and that whole fucking spiel and girls getting raped on the beach and shit. So they
Back
shut it.
when men were men.
Apparently. So, God, fuck. If that's what you, oh my God. Is that what a man is? Rapey? Is that the real man? A rapey man?
Maybe. I mean, if we're talking caveman, probably. Do you think there were a lot of gentlemen cavemen?
I don't know. That's just wild. Why are men born like? What is it? Like, why are they?
I think it might not be a men thing. It might be a male thing, if that makes sense. Because men makes it seem like it would only happen to humans. But if anything, you observe the rest of the animal world, it's way worse. So if
Yeah, right?
anything, like the human aspect of that is at least slightly elevated because it's cognizant of it. But almost even,
Right.
like I don't know if you ever seen two ducks getting together, or like two lizards getting together, or two almost anything getting together. They usually have that same sort of vibe. There's not a lot of like candles being lit.
Well, isn't it? Well, hold on, wait. If you were actually looking at the kingdom, the girl has to say yes. She'll like allow the male species to come in. They have to do a dance. They have to make a home. They have to like show that, hey, I'm the worthy one. I'm the strong one. I'm the this one. And create a feeling of security for her to say, yeah, you could tap into this pussy. And isn't that how it actually works?
I think, well, yeah, I guess in certain different animal
Besides
lines, right?
dolphins, no
Well,
offense,
like
donut.
cats, for example. Cats don't. Cats do
No?
not have that. And in fact, a cat, and this is maybe a little bit too TMI, but a male cat penis has these barbs on
Spikes,
the
yeah.
inside. So when it comes back out, it completely damages and rips up all the tissue so that another cat can't come in and overpower the first cat. So, I mean, cats are probably inherently one of the most rapiest animals in existence. Dolphins too. I'd throw dolphins into that same category.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Sorry,
I'm so
kitties.
sorry. Just apologize to my girl cat right here.
Yeah, if you have a cat that ever got pregnant and went through one of the most horrific
Well, not
ordeals
this
that
one,
you could even describe.
but still, I'm sorry to your race.
And I learned that from a parody comic book called Socks the Cat, about Bill Clinton's cat that would go out on like in the alleys at night and it would just like rape other cats. That was the whole premise of it.
Fuck. Holy shit. Okay, so cats, dolphins. Is there like one in every like family of species that are just
They're all
like
on notice. Every single one of you
fucking
is on notice. Dolphins, cats, I want to say ducks too. Ducks have what you call a balastic penis, which
Well,
is the corkscrew one, and I think that those ones too probably. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the girl duck likes that, but it doesn't seem like a pleasant experience for anybody.
females get rapey, don't they? But like not to the point they'll kill something
Well, I mean, they also have a track record of in the animal kingdom of just straight up murdering the mate regardless, right?
after the fact, right?
Yeah, after they get what they needed.
Oh shit. Ooh. Ooh. Don't put any ideas out there. These leftist women are shaving their heads, you know, like what's the next extreme? We don't know. We don't know.
I kind of like that whole dynamic though, where they're fighting back against some invisible enemy, and they're using these tactics against an enemy that doesn't even really exist. Like no one's coming after that, but it's I don't know. It's interesting to see the different types of reactions people have to a political abstract concept, right? Weird segue, but also when we are talking about like the suicide weekend, and maybe it's related to crypto or all these other like major events that would cause someone to think that way. But if you look at the people that have these balance sheets, I see this all the time on like the investment Reddits and stuff, and people that especially like the GameStop type of stock people that jump around, where they'll be up, like $200,000 or something, and then they make a whole bunch of missteps, and now they're down like 80 grand, or now they're down 200. They do like a short on something, and then the short gets called, and it ends up feeling like it's the last thing that they'll ever be able to do. They want to just like exit the earth now because of this. But really, what happened, like your life did not actually change in any significant way. The only difference is that you look at a phone, and the phone has a certain number on it, and that number changing somehow completely affects, your outlook in life. But really, you could just ignore that number from existing. But the type of person that would be thrilled by the ups and downs of that, I don't think is capable of not like giving power to that number.
Hmm. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Crypto is just like putting me in a different world almost. I feel like when I'm in that space, I feel like I've gone into a loop. It take like Chaney said, it takes like this energy from you almost. It's like I don't know. The whole crypto, like the word crypto, the being in it, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But like hearing all the information and staring at these charts and putting money into things, and then having your heart go up and down with this emotional, oh my God, I'm going to fucking lose my money. And like, oh my God, the chart's going up. Do I sell? Do I not sell? Do I hold? It's just chaos. I don't know. It's like loosh at the same time, but it's like you got to play the fucking game. I like after Bitcoin, and I knew Bitcoin was around when it was like fucking pocket change, like cents, and I didn't and I was gonna buy and I didn't buy. Like I'm not gonna forgive myself after this, so I'm gonna play the game. That's where I'm at. It's yeah, it's gambling. You're
Well,
right.
but you're still in a tiny little demographic of what, like 1% of people that have even taken that step to go that far.
Yeah, yeah. And the things that you can invest in, like XRP, for instance, like that's a big one right now. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen with XRP? All these countries are like signing in with XRP, and like the court case fucking finally settled. So there's going to be an interview, I believe Sunday. I don't know where, but I guess he's the owner, or I think it's the owner, the CEO of crypto or something, the chair of something. I don't remember. Don't quote me. But there's going to be a huge fucking interview, a 2-hour interview or 1-hour interview. And that's going to, if you didn't invest yet, just put some money in there. Put $100 in there, $200. Just watch it soar. That coin I've been holding for almost 5 years now, and it's going to pay off so well. You just got to be patient. This whole game is about being patient. So did I go off track here? I did a little bit, right?
Tracking?
Track. Did I go off track here a little bit?
No. I guess the thing that I'm waiting for this other shoe to drop too is that like and we brought this up before, but this concept of, your parents forgetting how to like log into their router, or like, for example, I don't want to give too much away. I know some people that keep all of their passwords in like a notebook because they can't actually memorize all of them, and they don't use like the password stores and all this stuff. What happens though when grandma and grandpa have to like actually exist out in the world by using their crypto wallets? It seems like it's just so much more complex than having just a piece of paper that you can take out of your pocket and give to someone. Even if everything completely starts revolving around crypto at one point, it's going to have to get transferred back into some sort of tangible item that people can just go out and exchange with each other, because not everyone, I think, will be ultimately capable of keeping the abstract mental model of crypto, or having like all of these decentralized exchanges, or having like a cold storage or a hot storage. And some people are just be like, I just need to go and buy that thing off the shelf. I just need to go and buy my Cheerios, and like not have. And I think that what will happen is it'll evolve into like an actual exchange, where now if you put your crypto, if you stake it into Bank of America's crypto bank, then there's protections against it. And if you forget your password, they can try and help you out with it. But eventually it's just going to turn right back into normal fiat currency. I'm also super cynical, because a lot of the things that crypto is sort of like purported to help and fix, it seems to do the exact same bad market behavior that any other market has ever provided. Like if you look at the stock market and the shorting and the insider trading and all, like every single vice that is looked at as like, oh, that's why fiat currency doesn't work. People are applying those exact same vices to the crypto world. So I just don't like, the benefit is obvious in some ways, but it also is not solving any of the existing problems. It's just going to be a more complicated version of it.
Or it just happens that the world just splits. Like you'll have the ghettos, where those people are not part of that society, and then you have the people who are part of that society, like a complete fucking split. Or maybe levels of different parts of society, like that fucking movie where you're going through levels, and it's like the time where you have like time as currency. What was that fucking movie? And you see it, and then
Timeless with
yes,
Justin Timberlake, right?
like that.
It's
Yeah,
actually a decent move. Like it's a better premise than a movie, but even the movie isn't horrible.
yeah. It's, I don't know.
Or
Well, I can't remember who we were talking to about this. And I'll give up trying to remember the name, but they had made a really good point, and that's that cryptocurrency ultimately is not really for humans. Like right now, humans are using it, but essentially it's made for computers to pay each other and for software to pay each other. And we're just here for this tiny little blip in time in which we feel like we've got some kind of active participation in like buying and selling and trading and all that. But really, it's made for computers to talk to each other, and it might not even be something that humans interact with directly in a few generations from now.
I don't know. That's just a lot of fucking money being put into there for just it all fucking just bye bye.
Well, it's not that humans would stop using it. It's just that like your car would know how to negotiate with I'll make a random example. But your car would make a negotiation with the gas station. Like, I'm going to get gas, I'm going to get chips, I'm going to get food. And by the time you pull up, it's just already has done all the transactions for you. That this would be like a next iteration of this, where we're removed from the spending of money, because all of the systems kind of do it on themselves, because it's not like you're going to debate with the AI cashier. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Well, then doesn't that get into the whole like concept of mark of the beast, where you just did a microchip and then you don't have to worry about how to use it?
Well, you don't even need the
Just scan
microchip
it.
though. I mean, because you've got the heat signature and gate recognition. Anywhere you go, the store would just be like, "Oh, we know who you are because of how you walked in here. We don't even need to know your face. You don't got to do a thumbprint scan, nothing."
So then why why mass, and just shoving shit into people that creates this electrical field within people, or a network within people that's growing. Some people are just, but the ones that are surviving this, they're the proof that there's something going on here that is interacting with the future potential of introducing AI with humans. That's where I see it going, because I saw the WEF's future profile and what they expect to see in the future, and it has to do with all of these programs to I guess install a processing center, or we're already it, and they know how to tap in with us already, and they want to integrate AI with us and computer systems with us and currency with us, which they already do, but they want it in a mechanical form for some reason. They loosh our energy all the time, but this is just a different form. To me, this is what I understand, and our aura of it all. This is not Sabrina Wallace information. This is WEF's information.
I mean, I think that part of that too is getting you on this track of like needing an update, and that update now it's like asking for a booster seat at the restaurant. Like you got to keep getting all these different booster seats in order to sit at the restaurant. But at a certain point, it will actually be like a maintenance upgrade that everyone will just be expected to go and get their scheduled maintenance, not just to go do a checkup, but it's like, no, you literally need this because of the problems with that last update we rolled out. We're gonna have to go ahead and issue a patch for that. And it is kind of funny how like, even the concept of a patch, it sort of reflects this new way where I think we're gonna cross over this threshold where the AI and our tools no longer be tools for us. Like we start to be tools for them. And it's not even that deep of a thought. That just seems like the natural trajectory
Man
here.
versus the
Even if you
machine.
talk
Deep
about
thought.
crypto and selling, like the people that do all the sales and that are doing day trades, they're usually watching, the candlestick patterns, or they're watching like certain triggers in the market. But it does seem a little bit like almost like narcissistic and naive to think that a human being is always going to be the best at that job. Like pretty soon there'll be AI programs that can recognize those patterns at a scale and at a speed that's so much faster than any human brain
There
could
already
ever
are.
hope to
That's
be.
what's
So,
happening.
well, and even in the
Yeah,
regular
the
stock
bots.
trading market outside of AI, there in the 90s and the 2000s, there became this battle of who could put their data center closer to the stock exchange, because they were realizing that at a certain point, the less distance that the electrons had to travel would mean that they would get their trade in before the next guy, and then they would start buying up, space and real estate as close as they could to the stock exchange's data center so that their trades would go in sooner. And that's just humans trying to like get as close to the theoretical limit of the speed of light in order to make their trades happen. But now this is taking a whole different turn because these AI algorithms are going to literally travel faster than the speed of light.
What if, though, like where you were saying, like the cereal analogy, what if Cheerios just eventually has its own coin, and then, your Silk milk has its own coin, and your Florida Orange has its own coin, and you put all those coins in a basket, and now there's no currency or no bank or no interest or no store. That item gets the money and comes to your house because it's just you just traded whatever your currency is for that currency.
Mm-hmm. So odd. Oh, so weird. But that's where
And
we're
what
heading.
if the computers, like in a way, like all of the labor jobs that, and I'm a huge skilled labor person, and there's so many jobs that humans are needed to do, but then there's so many really hard fucking jobs that we could really program computers to do for us. And so I do some kind of like, as much as I don't like them, it's like you should use a mule to hoe your field. Well, that would be cruel if you're an animal rights person. What about if we use a human? No, you can't have slaves. You got to pay them a livable wage. Well, what's a livable wage? Because, minimum wage, that's cruel. And then you're like, you start going through all these things. Well, what's the least amount of cruel for the most amount of work? Well, we'll just put a computer to work. So if we can have computer slaves, does that really change the game?
Well, especially once they start realizing how to run computers off of bacteria, or off of like, human brain cells or something, instead of having to create actual electrical components, then that changes that whole dialogue. Because, well, technically, if it's bacteria running this computer, like maybe that it does go back into PETA's purview. Like maybe they do care if you're, forcing bacteria to work and mow those fields for you, because technically that's an animal.
Well, they've
Well,
been
if
doing that with
soy and
viruses, like
heme,
for energy or for data storage, like actual
I'm
like viruses, not computer viruses.
like there's a lot of like synthetics for like a lot of different stuff going on in human bodies and peptides and all these kind of things, and a lot of them are created from vegetables. Like soy boy is like, it's funny how much like different things that go into like guys that they're like, no, I just eat meat. And it's like, well, soy's used to create that, or beets are used to create that, or it's not all coming from animals.
I wonder. This is like getting all in like sci-fi realm, but I had this thought too, that what if they figure out a way? Because right now, if you wanted to like mine a cryptocurrency, you would go and set up like a little mining rig. I don't even know if it's feasible anymore for Bitcoin, but there's plenty of other coins that you can still set up like a GPU farm and mine for that coin. But what if in the future you can just like plug yourself in to mine when you're not using it? So now like you're going to be that computer that's mining for the next crypto coin, but it means that you're literally trading in like large portions of your life, essentially, right? Because you'll be like connected to this machine doing these algorithms, or let the software run on your hardware, so to speak, in order to trade. Like, so the new version of going to work, it'd almost be like giving plasma, but you'd be giving brain power.
Well, because a single gram of DNA can store 215,000 terabytes of data. So really, it would probably just even be your DNA. Can anybody hear me? It's like quiet. What the fuck's going on here?
So how do you do with awkward silence?
It's not that it was awkward. It's just that I didn't know if things were working right because we've had audio issues tonight. Somebody in the chat had said earlier, it sounds like when you're rewinding a VHS movie. I was like, oh my gosh, it does. That's the noise.
I am on Salvia. In fact, I wonder if it's even legal where you're at, Abbie.
I don't know. I think my son has done it here, so I don't know if it was
You might have just outed. You might have just outed your son. Nope, it is illegal in your state.
Oh.
Okay, I'm totally
Is it
here,
legal in
and
Florida?
It is not.
I laughed for all the time that Abbie thought that nobody else was in the room, but I had to listen to my directions because I already missed my turn once. Thomas, you're the only one that'll fucking really understand this. We have a road in Florida called the fucking Turnpike, and if you miss a turn on the Turnpike, you really just went an hour out of your motherfucking
Oh
way.
yeah.
There's no U-turn, there's no anything, and I wanted to lose my mind. I was like totally heated. Now I'm like, okay, I'm closer to home, but I really sent myself 55 minutes out of my way.
Oh, you missed
Oh,
the exit on the turnpike?
Yes, because you guys were having such good conversation. I really was into the show. Like, I was just totally like a listener of the show. And I was like, oh, yeah, totally. Like, I was listening to your guys' podcast and I fucking missed my turn.
Oh
We
yeah,
had
the
a few
Turnpike's
times
weird.
like that, yeah.
I have to set my GPS even though I know what exit to take because
yeah, because
like when I'm going home because I will miss it if I'm just not paying attention.
I
Y'all,
zone
it was
out.
digging at me. It was like ding, ding, ding,
I,
ding. in the
have
background.
Did you have one of those moments where you're like zoned out and you don't even realize you're even driving, and then somehow you make it to, or some,
Yeah.
and for instance, you'll make it to your destination, you're like, how the fuck did I get here? Did you have one of
You guys
those
were
moments?
talking about time, and it was like I was lost in time.
Hmm. I
And I
love
can't
that
believe I
feeling.
did that, but there's nothing I could fucking do about it, and it is what it is. It's like that would be one of the things old me that would have ruined my fucking night. New me, I just am like, well, at least I got to listen to you guys have an amazing conversation.
Yeah,
What
Anyways,
you were describing, Layla,
shit.
that's Dr. Joe Dispenza calls that. He says that's when your mind is in your body, like because half the things that we do are almost unconscious. Like the body just takes it over and is on autopilot. So it's like when you're driving, you're like, oh my god, I don't even know how I just got here because like I don't know if I was driving safe or what, but it's because the body becomes the mind. So you don't have to use your conscious brain to do it.
do you think that maybe our gut has a big part of this system that we forget to talk about, which is the same? Aren't they made of the same matter almost? The brain and the gut, almost the same substance, I believe. And how it's coiled up, it's like a huge fucking gut, your brain. So what if there's something to that where like this shuts off, but your instincts, your senses, which is your gut system, that we feel things in our gut, what if that takes over?
Yeah, what you're talking about is your intestines have their own neural network, just like your brain has a neural structure, but in the intestines, it's something completely different. It's called the enteric or something, enteric nervous system, the ENS.
Hmm.
And that this is what you're talking about is that it kind of rivals the exact same premise as your brain having neurons, but it's it's inside your gut. So that actually like your gut could be its own brain, but we just don't process it in the same way. Like because it doesn't go through the exact same way for us to experience it, but it might have its own intelligence that would rival the human brain intelligence.
I think so. Like the whole idea of like the three brains. It's like you get the thought, it filters through your heart. Like you'll get a feeling because your heart is its own brain. It's like its own vortex, its system. And then it connects and filters into your gut, and your gut gives you that feeling or that instinct. It's like, hey, should I do it? Sure, do it, or don't do it. It's like that
go,
gut
go
feeling.
ahead and take that random pill of Tesla that your friend said was X.
Yeah,
For saying pill, I gotta take
yeah.
supplements.
Take the gut pill.
You guys, I'll tell you something that happened to me last night that I felt was very strange. And I'm not usually one of these people to be like 5G, Wi Fi, all this bullshit. I was chatting with somebody on the phone. I was totally fine. And I know I've had stomach surgery in the last 2 years. I know it could have been blood sugar. I know it could have been hormones. But I was just chatting. It was, and I fucking know what nausea feels like. It was so wild. Like in the middle of a sentence, I got the strongest wave of like dry heave. And I looked up for some reason. I've never seen ever my internet adapter. It was blinking green. And usually, if it's offline, it blinks red. If everything's working smooth, it's white. And it was blinking green, and I got super nauseous. I was dry heaving. It went back to white and I felt fine. I really was like, is this some kind of like I don't know. Like how they have noise cannons to disperse a crowd and no one can hear it, or that you could play a brown note and make someone shit their pants? I don't
Yeah.
know. It was just like a very strange feeling where I was like, was that the Wi-Fi signal? Because I have hippie friends that are like, I never sleep with the Wi-Fi on. I turn my phone off when I sleep. I unplug my TVs. And I'm like, that's wild. But maybe.
No, there's something to that because even the ear ringing thing, like I really believe those are acoustic attacks because and I've talked to people who have had tinnitus for years, and I've told them this, like, if you literally just tell it to stop, like I reject your download, then it stops immediately. And they're like, holy shit, like I'm a rated veteran because I have tinnitus. My ears never stop ringing. I did it and it stopped. What the hell? Like, I'm
Yo,
telling you, like people are doing frequency.
Yes, and here's the fucking crazy thing. I found an old video from the 1990s about this whole harp theory, okay? And we're all sitting here thinking it's fucking, oh, it's weather manipulation. No, they show the strategic way of how it somehow these frequencies that control your mind and give you ideas and control the masses in a sense, frequency, it shoots up into the sky, and they say it reflects over the ionosphere. But no, that's bullshit. It reflects over the fucking dome because it's a solid structure. So it reflects down in a certain position where it's placed so perfectly that it's just hits perfectly in an angle where it hits certain places like the United States, and it controls people's minds. This is the idea, and this is a whole ass interview on TV. They showed it, and they did a whole documentary or I guess interview trying to interview Harp and the creator of it. No, don't worry about it.
Can
Everything's
I add to
okay.
this? And it just
Yeah.
makes just in my head, the Pythagoras like theory and like the harp, the actual harp, is set up with 47 strings, and each one of the strings is supposed to actually affect a tone for like in the human body. Like
I'm
one
telling
tone
you.
would be your kidneys, one tone would be your left hand, one tone would be your heart, one tone would be your. And so it is curious that
Yeah.
the harp is called the name of the thing that is really manipulating us. Like, is it making me sick, but they're playing Abbie a different thing that's giving her a headache, and they're playing Thomas one that's making his ears ring, and they're playing you one that's just making you pissed?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know what I
here's the
Well,
mean?
thing. Yeah,
Like
because
that shit.
you don't like talking about this, but Sabrina Wallace talks about that and the colors of our aura and our frequency of our aura and how they know that we are the actual Wi-Fi, we are the connection to everything, and they figured that out and they figured how to tamper with that. So that's why these frequencies and like you're saying, the harp and the different um set frequencies for the color of your aura and you can be affected. It's all color, fucking speed, light. It's I don't know. Water has a major thing to do with it because our structure is plasma, water, whatever you want to fucking call it, H3O, H4O. But it's something fishy here, and I don't want to bring her up, but she has some fucking valid points, Sabrina Wallace, and it
well,
all
this
connects
is
to the harp
fishy
of it all.
too, is that music is supposed to be tuned to 432 hertz, but like since technological advances, they've all like standardized it at 440 hertz. So they've changed the actual like harmonic frequencies. So like this lady, I know her name is Maria, I think Maria West, she's Dakini Kiss on Instagram, but like she plays piano and she has her piano tuned to 432 hertz. So it's like
Mhm.
those are the harmonic frequencies that actually are healing to your body, and 440 is not.
Well, they do it with everything. They do it with the light bulbs now. They do it with our fucking clothing. They do it with everything to the point where our underwears, we're not supposed to be wearing this plastic down here. Like we're not supposed to. Men, you're not supposed to be wearing elastic down there at all. You're just supposed to let yourself breathe. Like everything is a
Cotton.
fucking. They want to electrify different parts of our bodies to fucking glitch something in you because we are electrical beings. But everything has to do with your electrical frequency. When it comes down to the lighting, to the shit that you listen to the things that you put inside of you, to the clothes that you wear, to the sheets that you sleep in, to the type of water that you fucking use, like in every angle. But it's not like to black pill you, it's just to be aware and like speak into existence what you want the thing to be for you, whether you want it to be healing or believe that it's going to destroy you. So belief has a big play in it.
And I could be
I
wrong, but
look.
oh, go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I could be wrong, but I feel like the 432 thing is just one of the frequencies that things can be set to. I think it's the frequency that gets all the like, but there's a whole bunch of like beautiful sound
Right.
waves that you can set your stuff to. And that's where the solfeggio, it's like if you really look into more than just that one frequency, there's a whole bunch of beautiful patterns that are made in different frequencies. And so
Yeah.
like studying what each frequency, like what Layla's saying, like a color might mean one thing, a frequency might mean one. one thing,
Well,
different elements, different tones, change everything.
you're glitching. Hello?
Yep, going through a
Yeah.
tunnel. I'm kidding. There's no tunnels in Florida.
But honestly, this makes so much sense because there's the whole actual true Rife machine. I don't know if this new Rife technology is the same as the old, but the old Rife technology, I mean, scientists are now like catching up, or they're saying that they're catching up, but they are figuring out that you can actually grow teeth with frequency. Like you can grow your teeth back. So that only tells me because the memory of your stem cells is there, of the thing that's missing, like it's still there, like the memory of it all would always be there. Like I had a tooth there, it's not there anymore, but it
That would
was
be the
there
ultimate
before.
prank, is that you like play tooth growing music
I'm
to like
telling
your
you.
friend, and they wake up and they've got like all these extra teeth.
It's strange, but like they're even talking about to the point where like you can even grow missing organs if you really really do the right diet, the right exercise, the right frequency that you find for it. Like let's say liver, you're missing part of your liver and you want to grow some of it out. I know the liver can grow on its own, but if you want to speed up the process, you put the right frequency on and boom.
Well, that's like the whole idea that everything is electric, like Electric Body, Electric Health by Eileen McCusick. She's the lady who does all the tuning forks and did all the studies on the tuning forks, but each tuning fork is tuned to a different frequency, and like you can act because your body's electric and electromagnetic, it's
It's
all
electric.
sound frequency. It's electric. It is. I mean, people don't realize that, and so they're like, "Oh, don't eat salt. Salt's bad for you." Well, you run on electricity. That's why you have to
Would
have electrolytes.
would that have something to maybe do, I think with the Tartarian and the mud flood stuff, where they talk about the organ playing for the organs and the cathedrals of the church
Yeah,
just
being
being
very
healing
healing.
centers? And I was thinking it curious while I was looking at my pagan tree in my living room, that the barber shop pole used to have the red stripes on it because they would do surgery and haircuts, which Layla always says that's witch shit. And so think they're taking your organs and your hair in one place for a barber pole.
Yeah.
And then we have these candy canes on our pagan tree.
Yeah.
Well, and not just surgery, but bloodletting. Back when
Yeah,
bloodletting was seen as
bloodletting.
like a normal, and I've found an article from I think like the 1930s, as far back as the 30s, that would recommend, it's like, hey, it's springtime. That means it's time to like get rid of that old blood from the rest of the year, and make room for the new fresh blood for winter. Like they were just advertising this like it was a normal thing that people would go and do. Like, oh God, I got to go and get my old changed.
So weird. I mean, how many people did that kill?
There was something too that I really want to bring up. This is like such a nerd sort of nerding out aspect of the 432 versus 440. I've heard all of the different sort of like woo-woo explanations about why one is better than the other with the cymatics and like the the aesthetic vibes and everything. But there's also a practical version of this. First of all, that the Nazis apparently were the group that helped usher in 440 versus 432. There was like an official decision that was made in the 1930s or 1940s, and the Germans heavily pushed this, although it was like a worldwide standard that got adopted. And the reason was that the opera singers and the orchestras that would be traveling around, they were getting sick of having, it was specifically the opera singers. The opera singers would go to a new venue, and that orchestra would be tuned to either 432 or 440 or 438 or one of these different frequencies, meaning that that's what their A note was. They would all tune to this A note at a certain frequency. But if you were traveling and you were going to, sing in 6 different cities over the course of a month, now all of a sudden you have to keep changing like what you're practicing based on what that orchestra is going to be tuned
Yeah.
to. So originally it was a practical thing of, hey, this isn't sustainable. We can't keep changing our voices around. So they just set on this one standard. All orchestras tune yourself to the exact same thing, so that now these traveling musicians don't have to tune in and out to the same extent as they had. But the opera singers, they start complaining because, And I think because of that cymatics thing, if you've seen, 432 on a plate of sand and then 440, the 432 makes a nice pattern with like these round edges, and the 440, it's like this big harsh pattern with like all these sharp edges. And it's not just in sand, but when you're also singing and you're trying to hit those notes, the opera singers would complain that when they had to sing to an orchestra tuned to 440, it would absolutely destroy their throat. It would hurt like their
I'll believe
voice,
that.
and they wouldn't be able to
Wow.
sing as long. And that by just changing it to 432 allowed them to sing more naturally, and they didn't have that same irritation occurring in their throat. So this guy Lyndon LaRouche, who was kind of a wackadoo, like he put out all these CIA and the CIA's running the whole world kind of magazine in the 70s and 80s. Lyndon LaRouche, he was the last person that tried to make this global push to revert things back to 432. And despite his controversial politics, he got pretty much all the opera singers in the world on his side to push this thing. It didn't go through. Like, we're still on the 440. I think we'll be at 440 forever, because what you were saying, Abbie, too, is that 440 is also way more convenient for like analog and electric, because the math works
Yeah.
easier for like the convenience aspect. But it doesn't, arguably, not that it doesn't sound as good, but that it is harder to keep tone and to keep your voice from degrading if you're tuned to 440 versus 432. So just some of like the
That's
practical
interesting.
results of this. Yeah.
Layla, we can't hear you.
Wow, I never knew that. That's fucking fascinating.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Also, the bells, like how they took all the bells out of China, they break the Liberty Bell. Like, we used to have all these bells. The teacher would have a bell next to her apple, and now there's like a lack of bells everywhere. Even like every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. Like, a bell is such a very specific frequency, what the bell's made out of, chimes. In Asia, like even like way before
Tongs.
there were way before there was ever like what are those tongs that people hit, those sound tongs that Abbie was just saying?
Tuning forks?
Maybe way before there was tuning forks.
Sound tongs, I like that.
Yeah, way before there was tuning forks, there was just like hollow tubes, wind chimes. Like, they would just have the wind blow through different reeds of things, and they would make different sounds. So
Yeah.
it's just very curious, like how much the tone, even in meditation, if you've ever been a person that's tried to meditate, if you're ever a person in prayer, it's just even how, like, Thomas was like, gosh, you hear the music coming in, it's coming in, they're setting you up for it, but the music actually adds to the sound or the cry or the emotion that they want you to have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
didn't they use stone also, like, to make music? Where like different they would use huge boulders actually, and like make slots in them, and you rub another rock over them, it'll make almost harp-like sounds. I don't know if you ever seen those videos of
Oh
like
yeah,
them.
if you bang two rocks together, it does a weird, like, it is a weird sound. Yeah.
Yeah, like a crisp, clear ding, but you're rubbing the rock over or hitting it, but mainly rubbing the rock over the huge boulder and the different slots, and it just makes different frequencies. It's
Have
beautiful.
Well, have you
you
seen them
seen
take 2 quartz crystals and you like rub them together and they light up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
have you seen
piezoelectricity. Yeah.
Yeah.
where people take the didgeridoo and put it over the crystal and just play the didgeridoo with the frequency, and it floats the boulder, like it floats the crystal?
Yeah.
Oh, you
So
just
it's
posted
like,
about that, didn't you? On your
I was
story.
going back through my every once in a while, if you see something where you're like, damn, Chaney just posted like 200 things. Really, I just went through my own Twitter feed, my own Instagram feed, and I was looking for something specific and never found it, and then gave up. That's because you're like, oh, this is a whole bunch of stuff, but if you click on any of it, it's all from my feed. And I'm like, oh, this made
I
me
noticed
laugh. I
that.
don't remember even posting that. And then sometimes I'll post so many things that I'm like, oh no, I just did a spell. Now I have to complete it. Like, you'll see the exact moment where I have realization, because usually Brittany's clapping or spinning or something with Brittany, and here we go, or lamb chop. Anyways, Sorry.
You were talking about bells too. This is one of the weirdest bell things that I've come across. But there's this bell called the Bell of King Songdeok, which is a place in Korea, and they have this huge bell. And there was this legend that when they first made this huge bell for the monastery, it wouldn't make any noise, and they kept recasting the bell over and over again. And even though it was just any other normal bell, a huge bell, they would hit it and it would just not make any noise. And eventually they recast the bell again. They would melt it back down, recast it, and then they sacrificed a child. They put a live child into the molten metal and then cast that into the bell. And then after they did that, it actually started to have a ring. And that the bell that it's still there today is, and this might just be legend, but it's an old legend that's been told for a long time.
Legends are usually based in truth.
Well, that the bell actually has a real human child in it somewhere.
Whoa.
That's
What the fuck?
That's one of my
disturbing.
favorite bell stories, and that's related to this concept of human pillar, which I don't know if I brought this one up before either, but that they would even today, but in history, they would usually sacrifice either a woman or a child when they would build a building or a bridge, because it was sort of assumed that the ghost of that kid or the woman would live at that bridge or live in that building. So if any other like bad ghosts were to come around and try and like cause havoc, they'd have a protector for life. But the weirdest thing is that this still happens. That you can go and look in like Malaysian news reports from 2020, 2022. And there have been all these instances where like an American corporation will go and put up a new building, and then they'll leave, but they'll have like the locals orchestrate that they do one of these human pillar sacrifices where they kidnap someone from a nearby city and put them into the foundation of the building before they put it up, because it's been done for so long that it's like, well, it's got to work, right? Or sometimes they do it just because the locals, they would expect that out of this building that's supposed to last around. And if you don't do that, it's almost like a disrespect of the culture, or it almost seems that you're being short-sighted, like you're not doing everything you could do to make this a fortunate endeavor.
Like the Hoover Dam. Like the first guy and the last guy that died on the Hoover Dam were the
right.
father.
Yeah. I mean, if it was it an accident, or was it like a legit, human pillar ritual?
Can I just say?
All the dams.
We're talking about human sacrifice and child sacrifice, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like, whoop, bring it back, Layla. How many human child sacrifices do we have daily in the United States of America? Daily, on the fucking daily, that are being sacrificed and being yanked out of mothers' wombs. I just want to throw it out there, and I don't care if y'all get pissed at me. I don't give a fuck, because we're talking about children here, but we play along in part of this Babylon game, and more than ever, more than them actually, I think at this point, at this rate, right? I'm just saying.
Does it count though?
It fucking
wonder,
counts.
But I almost wonder, does it count the same way as like having like a 1-year-old or like a 2-year-old versus like a 0-year-old?
It counts.
Well, somebody brought up this point in a Twitter feed or X feed, whatever. You can freeze embryos, right? But they're not really embryos. It's just the woman's eggs, unfertilized eggs. But once they're fertilized, you can't freeze them, or you can up to like 4 days or something like that. But after that, you really can't. Like they're not viable anymore. So that tells you that it's human life. That it's
yeah.
I think that's
sorry
hate
to
speech
say,
in Canada
y'all.
to say that.
It's fucked up.
Huh?
I think that's hate speech in Canada to imply that that's life.
Well, isn't
It
there
is,
another
sorry.
thing too?
Go ahead.
It is. I
Damn
know.
it.
It has some crazy ass shit. It like makes you think. Like, let's say all the religions are real. There was fallen, gods and deities, and they all became this one thing. And then whatever the highest high is of the gods, it's like, don't worship any of these other gods. And then there becomes this whole other story of him coming down in flesh and being sinless, like being that sinless thing sacrificed, and it gave this deity, God, all this power, does all the other child sacrifice want to mimic that thing, or is that thing just a retelling of a child sacrifice, a sinless thing?
Or
Does
was
that make
that
sense
just
at
to
all?
I think that was supposed to be yeah. I think it was supposed to take the place of all sacrifice though. Well, that's essentially what it was supposed to do because it was supposed to end any of the bloodletting ceremonies and stuff in the temple to absolve sin and stuff like that. So it was supposed to be like the ultimate sacrifice. So
See, and I
sacrifices didn't
think
have to
that
happen anymore.
there's a chance that the people that instituted that as the new religion, they might have just been gatekeeping the sacrifice for themselves, being like, "Hey guys, this new thing just happened. You don't have to do the sacrifice anymore. No one does. You know, now there's just been one, and we're all sort of absolved from that as long as you know, mind your P's and Q's." But meanwhile, they would go back to their underground temple and they would keep doing the sacrifice so that maybe theirs had more power than everyone else doing it in like a public state endorsed way.
I think at this
Or
level, they figured out like, hey, we're doing our sacrifice. Why not let them participate in a ritual that they're not a fucking aware of on our altars, where we just like put them after, like we rip them apart, you know, and they feel it. These babies feel it. You know, they feel every fucking part of them. Maybe they're not aware of it, but they feel it in the moment, whatever that experience is, that short amount of time. And they're doing it at an altar, and with the amount of knowledge and like knowing that we have at this point, that shouldn't be happening, and we're participating in this, and we have no idea because they're using these parts in a fucking spell that everybody's in, you know, in themselves, into your children. And then you wonder why your children are autistic, can't figure out which body they belong in, why they have ADHD, why they're this, why they're that. And it's all part of that fucking ritual that everyone decides to say, oh, it's not a fetus, it's not a baby, it's a fetus. That is part of the whole fucking problem. And I don't give a fuck what anybody has to fucking say. That is the number one issue that we have right now. But people won't see it because they don't want to believe it. And that's fine. You don't have to believe it, but that's the fucking truth. Everybody's under pharmakia, sorcery,
so,
spell, and we got to
do you
pick up.
think? Do you
Sorry.
think also, like, no, not just babies, but like in a way of, if a human goes and hunts, a hunter is aware of the sacrifice. They have to have an intention. Even if you have a gun, your bow, a knife, you have an intention. And usually a good hunter wants to kill something in one clean shot so it doesn't release any fear in that thing. And like, so it's like a whole, what if there is, and then look at the difference of the quality of food that he's usually bringing home to his family, like all this stuff. So let's say that's happening. Even if you want to just, this isn't a vegan or meat debate, it's just the idea, if there really is a power from the sacrifice, doesn't the elite own all the slaughter farms? Doesn't the elite do all the bloodletting? Doesn't the elite do all this other sacrifice that they're doing? And we have no idea what it's in the name of. And then we're taking communion of it. So we're actually like eating the same way if somebody like waved their hand over crackers and that becomes the body of Christ, who's waving their hand over your voodoo water and your hamburger?
That's why it's important to bless your food, and you know, it doesn't have to be to God. You can just literally like say a blessing over it, just like the water, right? But I think that there's power in that. Did you guys ever watch that show Dual Survival?
Oh, I love that was the one where the one dude would like never wear shoes, right?
Yeah,
And he
he
got
had
like
the best
super
beaver
mad at him
jokes.
because of
Yeah,
it.
but in the later episodes, he's not on there. Cody was his name, but there's this other guy that was on there, and he was also kind of like very granola-ish, like Cody. But when they killed an animal, he would always have to like sit and pray over it and thank it, you know, for feeding them. And I feel like there is such power in that. But I do think that just blessing your food. When I was learning Reiki, that was one thing that we were encouraged to do, is to actually do like Reiki or blessings over your food as well, because it would change the whole, like they tell you to practice like make 2 plates of cookies and do 1 plate where you actually just bless the cookies, whatever, and then like see which one people prefer.
Hmm. I don't
What does
know.
Reiki have to do with cookies?
It's laying your hands on, man. It's energetic healing. It doesn't have to be cookies. It's just the idea that like food tastes better and people are more inclined to want to eat that and put it in their body. It could be the exact same batch of cookies.
There's another like inversion principle here too, though, because if you look at like the Phoenician and the Carthaginian practices of sacrifice, if you ignore like the human sacrifice aspect, they also had lots of animal sacrifice, but most of the time the animal sacrifice in that context of these state endorsed like religions is that you would bring half of a cow or a pig or like a certain amount to the temple and give it up to them, and that was their version of socialism. Is that if all these families all brought like half a cow and they all sacrifice it, that half a cow would end up getting cooked and then redispersed through the community. It would basically become the food of all the priests that worked there. That was their tax system. You literally would come there and bring them food in the form of animal sacrifice that would turn into their food, and then any leftover. This was some of the origins of like this altruistic meaning of the church feeding the people. All that we're doing was redistributing the wealth in the form of animal sacrifice. And then as soon as money starts taking over, it kind of eliminates that whole aspect of like animal sacrifice being the tax and the language.
First fruits. Don't you think that that's like, I wonder how much propaganda that is. I wonder if that's from God or if that's literally from like the priests, because they talk about like the story of Cain and Abel, and one's sacrifice was good and the other wasn't because one gave his first fruits, the other didn't.
Hmm.
It's like with Rumpelstiltskin too, right? Basically the same thing.
No kidding. Yeah. Your first child?
Y'all, they're
Yep.
trying to put a spell on me.
Well, that's what the Phoenician priests would start to say, especially as Carthage began to fall. Once they started to lose power and Rome began to rise, you can find all of these not the Phoenician writings, because we pretty much wiped. But I mean like the Western world wiped the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians off the map. But the recounts did say that their priests were being very critical of all of the populace because all of the elites had gotten to this new habit of like, well, I'm not going to give up, my kids. Like I'm elite. I'm rich. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my kids, but we'll go and like adopt a poor kid from the ghetto and then we'll throw them into the fire and that'll be our sacrifice. Or they'd be like, I don't know, my firstborn's actually kind of killing it right now, but my thirdborn, he's kind of a dud. So maybe we'll just throw the thirdborn into the fire. And the priests were being very adamant that like, this is why we're losing the war. This is why our entire civilization is falling, is because you guys stopped giving priority to your
first
firstborn
fruit.
and to your first fruit, and you're just giving whatever you don't want. You're throwing the scraps, and that like their god didn't want the scraps. Their god wanted, that perfect cut. They wanted like the medallion behind like the wing. You know what I mean?
That's like me. I'm the sacrifice of this family.
Yeah.
First fruit.
Hilarious. I love it.
But then you think of like Water for Chocolate, the movie, and in that the youngest child had to like serve the parent forever, had to live with the mother and never could marry, and had to like,
Really?
it was, yeah. So, and that was like Mexican culture.
Hmm. No, here it's the sons have to take care of their parents, but I've taken the role of son and daughter after my brother passed away, so technically I'm the son. So yeah, it falls on me right now. And plus I'm not married, so it just makes sense. Where the fuck am I gonna go? Like, be by myself right now? That would be great, but I can't. I can't let my parents just like, it's my parents. Can't throw them out.
You're a good woman.
Sure. Whatever that fucking means in today's world. I don't even fucking know what that is anymore. Oh, she's a good woman.
As I'm sitting here
She
like booting my
sacrificed
adult children
herself
out.
for her entire life. She's such a good woman. Uh, Sounds like some Mary shit.
What are
I am going to be getting off my phone and I will be getting on my computer. I will see you
Yay.
guys in like,
you know, just
Gonna see
about
your
to
face.
ask if Chaney was still caught in
good
like the
grief. If
turnpike hell.
dude, I had to go around a whole swamp. When I saw where it let me off and I realized I was south of where I needed to be and I came from south, went all the way north to end up south again, I just was like, whoa, I didn't think this could get worse. But anyways, I'm home now, so I will see you guys in a sec.
Yay.
There's been a couple times when I was like driving home and that thing that Abbie you talk about where your brain just shuts off and then you
Yeah.
like arrive and you're like, where did I go? Well, that happened, except I was just like vibing to some music or I was listening to something on the radio. I'm just driving, and all of a sudden I'm like in Tampa Bay, like at the actual water. Like, this is not where I meant to go. But like my
Shit.
brain just fully shut off and didn't even pay attention to
Yeah.
where I was actually going.
How did I not die? Like,
Because
what
you did like and that's the whole problem is that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how we do so many things in autopilot because we let the body become the brain, and you need to start being more intentional. Like even your morning routine, like getting up, washing your face, brushing your teeth, you need to be like choose to do it and think about it with your brain. Don't just go into autopilot and let your body do it, because when your body becomes the brain, you don't control your reality.
the Oh, what
You know,
the
this is
fuck?
even in the military, they would teach you some, maybe not in directly for this, but that, for example, this might sound weird, but yeah, in the military, they would tell us like brush your teeth with your left hand every once in a while. If
Yeah.
you're driving to work, always like every single day, take a different turn than you did the day before. And part of
It's
that
important.
was if someone's like, you know, like tailing you, if you have like a top secret clearance and they were trying to like kidnap you or something. But the other one was to make sure that you were staying alert in the moment and that you don't allow yourself to get caught into that like autopilot zone. And that just might mean, you know, consciously put on your left boot first and then your right boot, and then the next day do the right boot and then the left boot, and then get into these like patterns where you're deciding which pattern you're going for, so that it always prevents you from falling into like a certain rut.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Hold on. I can't make that happen where I live. Like,
What?
it's impossible. Like, it's like
Grab
literally,
another route.
yeah, it's like if I take another route, that's like me just like going like all the way around again and then going
Well, no,
home.
it would be something simple like, for example, on the way out of your neighborhood, you could just like take a right and then keep going straight, or you could take a left and then a right to get out of your neighborhood one day. You know what I
Uh,
mean? It
yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah,
like
yeah.
take a completely different route. Just always
Okay.
take a
Change
slightly different
something.
street every day
Or
so
back
that you
into your
don't fall
driveway
into it.
sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That kind of thing.
All right. All right. I'll fuck with that.
Because
That
it's
seems fascinating.
like in transurfing, they say, like there's a certain phrase you're supposed to just remember to help you bring your attention back into your body or like into your brain. It's I see myself and I see reality. So that way you're kind of at this center point. Um, and it just reminds you like, okay, so I see my thoughts, because you're either on one screen or the other. You're always in your head, or you're just paying attention to the world outside you. It's like very rare that you're in both places at once. So you you keep repeating that phrase to yourself, I see myself, I see reality, and you tend to kind of have more conscious, you make conscious decisions almost all the time.
I like it. I want to play
And
with
I
that.
look at my hands when I do that too, because I feel like that's like a dream, like a dream thing. So like it'll help me lucid dream as well. So
One of the things that I started I don't do it as much anymore because it takes a lot of effort, and sometimes I'm just being lazy. But in order to not go into autopilot, and I would drive by, I would look at the billboards, and the billboards themselves would also go on autopilot because you see the
yeah,
exact same ones, you drive the same route. But I would try to do is, as I was driving, before the billboard went out of view, I'd try to transpose every letter to a number. So if you drive by a billboard that says ABC Liquors, like an easy example, I would read it out to be like 123 because of ABC.
yeah,
Or if I saw like a Dan Newland, lawyer poster or something, I would see like a 3112 or a 3114. And that would just like always force, because you're not going to memorize what the numbers with every single letter is on all those billboards. It just forces you to stay in the moment, but it also mean, like, in my mind, it was a way of like breaking that subliminal programming. So instead of seeing an ABC liquor thing that would just embed itself in my mind, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I should get a beer after work or something.
Yeah.
Now I'm like actively like converting it into like a puzzle, like a brain exercise.
You're doing cryptography, right?
I mean, a very simple version of cryptography, but
Yeah.
just training your brain so that now when you see a billboard, you see an advertisement, it's like, oh, here's another puzzle for me to solve really quick, and it sends your brain into being active, as opposed to, oh, just an advertisement, let's shut that off. Because I got a
Yeah.
feeling that when you do that, all it does is it says, hey, let this only come in through my subconscious. Don't pay attention into my conscience.
Yes, so you
Yeah.
can kind of manipulate your surroundings too. Isn't there that movie with Will Smith where he tries to predict the outcome of a bet or whatever? I forgot what that fucking movie's called, but he insinuates like a number of a jersey, and he has to pick it, randomly. This Chinese guy apparently, and it's a bet, and this guy writes it down. I don't remember, but he put peripherals all around him, like I guess number 51. He put 51 on the cab that he was passing by in his limo, 51 by the elevator, just in random spots, people holding up a cup as he was passing along through his day. And then when he had to pick a jersey number, he looked through the jerseys and he saw 51, but it was in his peripherals. It wasn't in his actual sight of view.
This
But
is a Will Smith movie?
yeah, I forgot what
Was it
fucking movie.
Focus?
Is it Focus?
I think it was Focus.
With with that blonde chick, I think. No,
Is that a version of a Mind Palace?
I don't know, man. I forgot, but I'll find it and I'll show it to you. But it's a really fucking great movie, and the outcome of it was the girl had to pick the number.
Yeah, it was Focus, and the girl was Margot Robbie. It was Barbie.
There you go. Yes,
And
her.
the number was 55, not 51.
Oh, 51, 55. There you go. I was close.
I've totally forgot about that movie. I was trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, it's such a good movie though. It shows you like the power of like how you can even manipulate the whole fucking outcome of a whole bet without somebody even knowing, like you even knowing, and they could even probably going to an arena or a horse event or whatever, like a horse racing event. They probably do that to you around you and you don't even realize it with the subliminals.
Oh, for sure.
Hey, ha, ha.
Chaney.
Now it's a party.
It's a party, it's a party, it's a party. Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
It's
been a whole
party,
night.
party.
But it's
Yeah.
been rad listening to you guys. It definitely hasn't seemed like 3 hours locked in the car. Holy shit. I can't believe I went out of the way. Okay, it doesn't matter now. I can smoke marijuana.
No,
Oh.
that's what I'm doing, if anyone was wondering.
I feel like I'm a little rinsed. Let me put that further away from my face.
I'm gonna watch Focus tomorrow.
You guys, so much ass. I can't even tell you.
Yes.
And it like at first it was like, oh, that's a nice ass. Oh, that's a nice ass. Oh, that's a big ass. Oh, that's a skinny ass. Oh, look at that girl. She doesn't give a fuck.
Mhm.
Damn, that's the biggest ass maybe I ever seen, just full naked. Dang. And then I was just like, I love asses. Like, I'm a huge ass fan. I think like whatever it is about transgender dudes, I really do think they can fake tits, but I don't think they can fake a big fat ass. There's just something like so girly about it. Like, I don't know. So I saw built asses. I saw girls that they'd never been to the gym. Like, and I was just like, look how fleshy. But then I talked to all these other bartenders that were at they were like, usually these rave are all gay men walking around in like meat hangers. This is all chicks. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, why isn't every guy at this place? This is a clam bake.
Mm-hmm.
My brother has a prison tat that's all asses. Like it's a skull, but it's all asses when you look at it. except for across the nose, it's a woman spread eagled, but all the teeth are asses. It's pretty cool.
Dope.
It's pretty cool.
Ass.
Like a prison tattoo that he got in prison, or just the quality? It looks like a prison tattoo.
Well, I told you everybody we grew up with was incarcerated, so like he never went, like he's been locked up, but not like prison. But no, like our ghetto friends would do, who had been in prison would do home prison tattoos, So it was one of
such a
those.
great deal.
Yeah, yeah.
I made a joke because the two most ridiculous things I could think of to wear. I was like, oh, knowing my luck. This is an exact thing I said this morning. Knowing my luck, I'll get there and it'll be a rave. I should wear my Nephilim Death Squad cloak and my top hat. And I was just like, they were the two most random items I could see. Now I'm really thinking I should wear that tomorrow.
Are you going back to the same event tomorrow?
Yeah, first I have 2 more days there, which this was the only day that I was actually stressed about because I was like, I want to make sure like we went live and everything was still okay. And I was unsure if I broke up, if you guys would break up.
Yeah.
So, and then the whole restream, you know how sometimes they're finicky on timeline. So I still had to like wake up this morning to set the restream. Anyway, it's here. It was wonderful. I'm glad I got to listen to you guys on my drive from Palm Beach up past Okeechobee, all the way through Hall Junction, back down to Vero, and then up to Sebastian again. If you were a Floridian, that would make sense. But I did worse than a horseshoe. I did the what's the omega symbol? I did the whole omega symbol. I was like, this is a nightmare. But we were talking about time and Layla was going fast. And then she said we were talking demonic slow. And then I lost track of time. I'm like, this is what I get.
It's so weird. It's strange. Oh, you know why? Because you were on this, like, you were time traveling in speed, and you were taking that frequency that we're connecting with you on that frequency. So some kind of fucking weird shit happened.
Or like any weird clip. Like, yeah, I know. You guys all did travel kind of with me.
Yeah, it is time traveling. Driving is time traveling, getting to a destination faster. But it's just not what you think.
Yeah, and sometimes it would just go all the way off for me. And then so that I didn't know when to kind of speak. Because when I came back, it was almost like a telegram room where it gave me the entire conversation, just played sped up.
Huh.
So it was just like, and it would slow down as it got to the like real point. So I'd be like, am I really here? Anyway.
Yeah, you cut off a couple times, but like you caught up right away.
What anyways, what else do you guys want to talk about? Besides booties. I'm sorry I broke it up with booties, but wait till I send you the amount of booties.
Oh, we did not bring up. Did we bring up the shooter of the United Health?
You guys fill me in. I have no idea.
Okay, he was supposed to go to some meeting. He went there an hour before the meeting. He got propped, and they're showing this guy on the social medias of it all, like this guy smiling, but the shooter didn't have the matching jacket or book bag. That's my theory that I'm sticking on, and I don't know why, but apparently he also had things written on his bullets. I don't know what the sayings were. There were 3 sayings. Man, I can't remember. I smoked too much. But yeah, if you look it up, just type in what was said on whatever's bullet and you'll see. And it was like a hit for what? I don't know. But Nancy Pelosi knew something was up because she bought in stocks, insider trading tip, if you want to put it that way. But she bought a lot of stocks into whatever's going on right now. So it's just a weird thing.
There used to be this saying that whenever something would happen, especially like a bad thing happened, people would be like, this is good for Bitcoin, which turned out to be true. But I feel that is also true with like Pelosi. Like anything happens, like an assassination happens, it's like, oh, this is good for Pelosi's stock holdings.
Mm-hmm. It is. I wonder why.
If you were gonna, you know how in crypto you can just follow certain wallets. If you just follow Nancy's trades, you would be so golden. Like when she dumps something, the company's gonna fail. But I feel like I heard that the guy that I really didn't know what was going on, and when I first saw pictures, I really thought it was the dude from Dune. Like I didn't know it was a shooting. I just thought it was some Hollywood thing that kept coming up because
Well, it
that's
kind of is
usually
a Hollywood thing.
yeah, totally, like a false flag. But I heard it was some kind of like insurance, like the insurance companies were gonna meet with like the pharmaceutical companies. Like it was supposed to be like a really important meeting, and then the whole meeting got canceled. But I don't know. Oh, look at CEO was under dink investigation for fraud, denying claims for profit. Shooter wrote the denial to claims on the bullets he killed the CEO with. Bink. So, all etched in bullets. Hi, chat. Thanks for being so patient. The funniest thing when I went into the chat, I didn't even know where to begin. So I was glad Nigel was there because I was like, oh, time. We're just talking about it. I can, because they were arguing about the Black Eyed Peas, about Fergie, like not Black Eyed Peas in general. Like, let's make Black Eyed Peas for New Year's. It was like the band, the Black Eyed Peas, and they were like, they're all tools. Fergie sucks. I don't know what was going on, but it was funny. I just love that. That's
My
our
hump,
shit.
my hump, my hump, my hump.
Yeah, I just love it.
Back to the butts of it all.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
She is talking about butts, right? I never knew.
My humps.
My
Was
lovely
she?
lady lumps. I don't know.
I thought she was talking about her tits.
Maybe, but
I think it's
Any
ass,
of her lady
tits,
lumps.
Yeah.
I always thought she was talking about like lymph nodes or something.
Isn't it weird that Fergie is Kids Incorporated?
Was
I
she
didn't
on
know
Kids
that.
Incorporated?
Wait, what?
Martika was. I knew that.
Yeah, like Martika, when Martika was the oldest, like if we were talking about Kids Incorporated, like they were the Brady Bunch. If you remember Martika,
K-I-D.
and Martika sang the song like step by step,
Toy
heart
Soldier.
to heart, left, right, left, we all. So you'd probably hear that clip in a bunch of stuff now. But so Martika, when she was the oldest sister, the youngest little blonde sister, that's Fergie. So if you're a later to Kids Incorporated person where the blonde girl was the oldest, that's Fergie. The blonde girl is one of the only characters that stays there, that little blonde girl, through the whole entire series. That's Fergie.
Oh, shit.
So if you rewatch it and same voice, you're like, holy shit, but she's just a Disney kid. And one of the young kids on that show, but he was way older than them, was Mario Lopez. So he's like AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. He's also a Kids Incorporated alum.
Oh, I think I did know that.
Yeah, he's the drummer in the back. He never sings with the band, really. He's just like this the whole time. But
brings me back to the whole you can't do that on television, Alanis Morissette thing. That show was so freaking good. Like, did you guys watch that?
I was totally gonna make a little graphic for that because that came up last time. We need to have like a button that, like, if someone says a word,
we
you're
get
not
slimed.
Isn't that something that you guys suggested last time?
We need to write like a whole list of the stuff we really need to do. Like if I just put it here, because I'm always fidgeting with shit, and then I'll just do some of it. Thomas will do. You guys, we'll do it, but we actually need a list. We're gonna get more business about this. we need to get more organized.
We need to. Why not?
I know. I tried it, like, you know how long it took me to get Fauci ouchie, and I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that. That's not a great image. It just, I had to get it. It like had to be done. So, and that first one, the X with the Band-Aids, I didn't even make that one. That's not the real Fauci ouchie. Oh, that's not the you're on notice. But this one, let's see, it's somewhere on here. I'm so out of sorts today. Since you talked about it, we'll put it up one time. A little jibby jabby, the jibby jabby. Look at how the jibby. Look at that. It's right in you.
No, Layla.
Let's go.
Yeah. So what else? What else were you guys talking about?
We were talking about
or what else happened besides the shooter this week? I know that was the big news. Oh, the earthquake.
Oh,
with the grandfather clocks.
Yeah.
I think that's
That
hella
shit.
interesting because all the clocks, like to be a watchmaker was the utmost skill set of a craftsman at one time. So it's like, think of the best carpenter, welder, whatever craft you can think of, a watchmaker was the best. And so a
Mhm.
grandfather clock, it's crazy we call it a grandfather clock, one. It has this very specific, we've been talking about chimes and everything, bells, tones, all these things. What is a clock? The old clocks, if not for all these things combined, mixed with time.
Mm.
And so, but they took away all those too. And so also it makes me immediately think of Back to the Future when the clock tower enters
Yeah.
the
Like, why
story.
did they say it's not cool anymore? Like, oh, it's so tacky to have you have a grandfather clock. Ew, it's so like, but some people really like them. I
You
like them.
know, that's a watchmaker is called a horologist. Do you know who's a horologist? You'd be
Your
Hell
surprised
no.
by
mom?
this.
Oh,
Lehman.
Lehman?
who?
Yeah,
Lehman.
Chaney knows who that is.
A horologist?
Yeah, like you have to go to school and be trained by somebody who works on watches and stuff. Yeah,
It's a with a H or a
HORO.
horologist.
I'm supposed to pretend to act surprised finding
Horol-
that out.
Oh, you knew?
Well, I
horologist.
am a Fed.
Of course you knew.
Horologist.
Shit. But JK,
He was
JK, if
he was
Lehman.
on what's it called sometimes? Weaving Spiders.
Oh, but Lehman out there, if you do know who he is a good chat. He's
Yeah.
a good
Lehman?
chap with a good chat.
Interesting
Lehman.
fellow.
He podcast, you said?
Yeah, he was on Weaving Spiders a couple times.
Maybe if I see him, I'll know who he is. My brain don't remember names like that.
Yeah, I just think the Back to the Future and the grandfather clock of it all, and we have been set up. That was like a huge thing, like imprinted upon us. Somebody else of recent has been reminding me of Michael J. Fox, and I'm trying to think of who it is now. Of recent, I've been seeing this face everywhere of somebody, and I'm like,
Charlie
"That's-
Sheen?
No, it's somebody like maybe in politics or something, like a face they keep showing over and over again. And I'm like, is Michael J. Fox playing that character?
That guy from Parenthood reminds me of Michael J. Fox.
He's a curious cat.
Parenthood the movie?
No, the TV show. I think there was a show called Parenthood.
Parenthood.
I think.
But don't you? So the earthquake, like in Back to the Future, they show us that lightning and this huge amount of energy can change time if it's attached to a clock. And so then this huge amount of energy that happens with this earthquake, and then people are talking about their clocks are on the right time. And so, like Jeff Bezos is trying, is it Bezos that's trying to build the 10,000 year clock, like the world's biggest clock?
Yeah.
So he who can control the time controls the timeline. And what all of our phones just set automatically. I've always been into this idea, like screw the calendar. They can steal 30 seconds from us anytime your oven's off. Anytime they could just do rolling blackouts across the country and reset our time, and we're like, oh, it's 6:30. Gosh, it's getting dark.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we need to talk about Summer and how she can like skip time on her phone. You'll literally watch her do it. She'll because she has her magic iPhones.
Bizarre.
She'll take one iPhone and she'll record one of her magic iPhones. She'll be like, watch this, I'm going to make it skip. And then like it'll go from 125 to 127.
Yeah. She'll like literally make a minute skip or go back in time.
Yeah.
It is, I can't explain it, but she does it.
She'll send you a screenshot of the time and then it'll have a minute before too. Like it's hard to explain.
While we're talking.
Yeah,
like
while
we
we're
could be talking, and then it's just odd. I can't explain it. It's unexplainable.
So if she can manipulate time,
What's she doing with all those extra seconds that she's stealing?
I don't know. But 25 changes time, so maybe that's
Or the bullshit daylight savings ritual we keep having to go through. And
Yeah.
spring forward and fall back and all this bullshit. Like that was part of just the confusion. And you guys were saying like one of the biggest spells they ever do to us is like this aging acceptance, that like this egregore of aging that we
Yeah.
all just agree upon, that we get older. And it's just like, oh yeah, because we have birth dates. And then at
Yeah.
some point they added this Christmas holiday. So then it's like, oh, that's shoved in. And then Thanksgiving, and now they're together. And then, we also, it's like everything has become a birth date so that we could just constantly move forward in time. Like they're pushing us forward all the time. Like,
Yeah.
make sure this watch, look at the energy going through it. Like,
Secretary's Day, Grandparents' Day. It's to measure it,
crazy.
to mark it.
It's like fragments of time, like minute.
And even daylight savings time, it's not daylight savings time. Like Summer corrected us on this too. It's daylight saving time. So she's like, think about that. Daylight saving time. It's not daylight savings. It's daylight is literally saving time.
If you want to read into that too, that almost sounds like Apollo saving Kronos, right? Because Apollo would be the sun god and daylight, and time would be Saturn. So now you've got Apollo saving Saturn.
Yeah, isn't that weird though? Like, because
That's so
I've always
strange.
said daylight savings. I always thought it was daylight savings.
See, it's still just a battle of the gods.
It is.
Even like all their days, like thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Freya.
Yeah.
Like you're
Thank
Thor's
Freya,
Day.
it's Freya.
thank
Yeah.
Freya. Yeah. Thank Freya thanking herself.
Yeah.
But the amount of them, like
So
here, well, we'll give Woden, he has to get his own day. Like, well, we'll do that, and we'll give like Moon Day so that the moon goddess deserves something Sunday, and then Sunday became the day that is a religious day, even though it's just false. It's really the beginning of the week, whereas were just saying like donuts busy on Fridays, like that should be, you're actually ending your week at the end of Friday night
yeah.
into
Shabbat
your
That's your
Shalom.
Sabbath.
yeah.
Your
And so it's
sabbatical.
like somewhere where everybody has these weird days that are really under, even like see you Sunday, see you Apollo Day. Like, so really the Christian church is celebrating on Apollo Day, and then the Jewish church is celebrating on Freya Day. It's crazy.
And Seventh-day Adventists on Saturday, Saturn Day.
Saturn Day. So that's time day. That's the day that we're actually. So you begin, they're making us begin with, like you're saying, daylight savings time. They're making us begin with Apollo and end with Saturn.
Daylight saving time.
Daylight
Weird.
saving time. So it is really doing that.
Sunday savings Saturday.
Those sneaky bastards.
I know. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to think about
Sunday.
this more.
I know. It is weird. And the week, your weekend, your week
Yeah.
time is your Saturn and your sun, which is like in astrology, those would be signs they'd give your huge power to. Your Saturn and your sun sign. That'd be crazy. So
But instead, it's your weekend.
it's your weekend.
Because you're giving your power to those gods.
Or no, you're right.
It's so weird. It's like everything is paying homage to this thing, but then each one of the months is all wrong, set up after a wrong number. That's not really the month, except for the two that are Caesars,
Yeah.
Augustus and Julius. Which two Caesars just get put in where you guys were talking about if you bring up people's names. This may have been last week or the week before. Like, do you stay alive forever if people always are bringing up your name? So then we were talking about like chaos of it all and these gods, and like you're paying homage to these gods somehow. So the trick in the world that the devil pulled was to make you think he didn't exist. But we're all literally making egregores of every single one of our time
Yes.
with these gods every single day. Like, it might be the most amount without even noticing it. People are only going to church and worshiping their one real God on Sunday or Friday or whatever day they pick, most of the time with intention. And every other day is paid to one of the fallen on the wrong month that has to do with their weird symbol anyway.
I had somebody argue with me that October wasn't the 8th of it all. It was also supposed to be like Octavius or whatever. So it was supposed to also be a Roman thing. But I was like, no, because it doesn't go sept, oct, nov, and then dec. It doesn't do that. Like if we add in Octavius. So
Yeah, no.
Right, 7, 8, 9, 10.
yeah.
But then you think of how the gods battled the Titans. And so the Titans would have been these huge, the Scorpius of it all, the Ophiuchus of it all, the Sagittarius of it all. These are the Titans. And instead we're not following the wandering planets. We're not following any of those things. I don't worship astrology, but instead we do it every day. Our boxes and our calendar, and every single month we flip, it's like we're paying homage to them. We're giving egregores to every single one of our days of the fallen.
Okay, like back to the whole astrology of it all. It's weird that Sagittarius is the only mythical creature in the whole zodiac, right? But then you also get into like the Chinese zodiac, and what's the only mythical creature there? There's only one. Or
The dragon.
I'll say mythical. Yeah, the dragon. It's weird that they each have one.
And don't they have stories of how the dragon like carries the sun, and like all those myths about the dragon?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard. I thought it was like the
Or the
turtle's
dragon
back.
that eats the sun or something, that chases the sun, which is the solar eclipse, and that mythology of it all. I swear, I'm not kidding you.
No, I'm laughing
Yeah.
because you just said of
Oh.
it all, and somebody in the chat just said we should make a drinking and smoking game. Anytime any one of them says insert word, phrase, name here, of it all, you gotta drink and take a hit, and then you said it literally right after that.
All right, I'll take a hit right now.
I know we say of it all sometimes, and this is why, like every other show in the world, and we're trying to get better at this. When they bring up 9/11, you might get a whole description of it. Here, sometimes we're just talking about one tiny thing to do with 9/11. Sometimes other people might tell you a whole thing about Alex Jones. We might just say the Alex Jones of it all, and you know what that means. Like
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
I get into
We're
the next
assuming
part
you
of the
know.
story, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is it gets too weird here for us to have to go backwards. So you have to go to, and half the time for real, I'm gonna be like, those the towers that were like, conjoined, and you're like, the Twin Towers, bitch. I'm like, sorry, it's something around that. Like it's close enough for you to do a dig if you're into any of the topics, but
Mhm.
We're not trying to teach a full-on lesson here.
we're trying to
Yeah.
hang out and learn too.
Yeah.
Just learn off
Trying
each
to put
other.
what we know together and see what
Ideas.
we freaking dig up, what we
Yeah.
create, what we learn,
I'm
what
not
we can.
pretending to be a teacher. I feel
I'm
like I
not
learn
anywhere
just
near.
as much from the chat usually when we all hang
Yeah.
out. Like anyway, someone will say something and I'll be on a dig about some name or concept or thing I've never friggin' heard of, and now I'm lost. Lost in emotion. There is fun songs though in rave songs that are like clips from like fun hip hop songs from the past, or fun funk songs from the past, and that feels like time travel. Like if they can take a clip, there's let me think, there's like some Mariah Carey song that's some hot song now, but it was some hot song then, and it's like whatever the emotion is of that song, people always time travel to that place, and it seems like wherever they put that clip again, it always evokes the same emotion. Like it was originally played on Beethoven's piano or something, or some opera singer like Thomas was talking about 200, 300, 400 years ago. And they're using that same thread, like a chemistry of a pop song, like Sugar Ray, where they're like, oh, we figured out how to write a pop song. And so we can just write a number one hit. It's because people they're like programmed. So all of our songs kind of sound the same, like when our number one hits. But if you listen to our old shit, it's all heavy. We just figured it out. But it's like, okay, CIA, you write bops. Let's stop pretending. But they write
CIA,
the
you're
bops because
unnoticed.
I think they stole all of the 47 numbers of, or the solfeggio frequencies, or the Pythagoras things. They stole the information from us. It's not just because everything's set wrong. People play their guitar and their piano and everything's set to all the things. It's that they steal it, and then if you try to tell people about it, they mock it. And then usually they mock the thing, take whatever it was that was magic about the thing, rebrand the thing, and sell it to you like it was the thing with a whole bunch of snake oil involved in it. And it's not doing the thing at all. And now no one believes in the concept of the thing.
Yeah, they attach a demon to it or something.
Yeah, and there's so many people doing that now with things, that people are like, oh, I'm going to put all this faith into the thing, but the thing doesn't work right. And it could be a fixed thing, but you're just running on a fake thing anyway. Cause I don't know. It's wild to me. We're just in this whole real, it's, they're like, cut the head off something and 3 more grow back in its spot. It's almost like if Hollywood is destroyed, the next Hollywood that will be destroyed will be the mimic of Hollywood. And so it almost is like everyone, instead of becoming anew, they usually just become a poor copy of the thing they
parody.
destroyed.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Absolutely.
no, do it different. I don't know. But yeah, that's where I think a lot of the technology is a poor, bad copy of what they're destroying or keeping from us.
Well, that's why we don't have any new movies anymore. It's all
repetitive
sequels and remakes
of the same storyline.
Yeah.
Over.
I'm trying to remember the exact songs, but in the occult Disney series that I do, we noticed a certain trend at a certain point that all of the most addictive Disney earwig songs that came from like all your favorite Be Our Guest and like Bippity Boppity Boo, like all of these, a large majority of them came from like Jewish folk songs, so that it's almost like the people that put it into the Disney movie, they didn't come across an earwig. They found an earwig that's been buried in people's like epigenetic memory for hundreds of years already, and then they just commercialize it by turning it into a song that then will then get caught in like a new generation. But it's not like they found some awesome song formula. They were just borrowing the exact same formula that's always worked. It's kind of the same thing that we do now, where it's like the same way, like 4 or 5 chord progressions that make up a majority of pop songs.
What did Kanye say?
What if we're like the same way? What if like
something about sweet and sour sauce?
Something like that.
In this really selfish way. What if like in a simple kid way, aliens wanted to make the perfect thing. And so they were like, okay, we're all going to come together. We're going to throw all of our alien junk in there. And we're going to make a miracle called humans. It's going to be this feeling, empathetic, all this thing. But how are we going to teach it? We'll take creatures from all of our favorite planets and we'll put them on this one planet. And each one of the creatures will teach them a thing. Like the tigers will teach them how to hunt alone. The wolves will teach them how to hunt together. The birds will teach them how to sing. The birds will teach them how to fly. They'll teach them how to build a nest. The bears will teach them how to cave. And so what if even in the tones of it all, what if even in the string, or it's all just a poor mimic of something in nature that was healing naturally, like a place they would go where the wind would blow through the things and they'd be like, all the people heal in this bamboo forest. Like it's a poor representation, and over time it's getting farther and further and further away. So eventually we believe, like the computer, like Thomas was saying, it's easier for the computer to recreate this thing. It's more numerically correct. Like it fits into this like curve better. What if it's just like almost like breaking our palate? It's breaking our ears. Like we're getting further and further away from those natural sounds, like water falling off a waterfall, or like the rocks banging together. Those sounds actually, or leather beating of a drum. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe it's just breaking it.
It might be a stretch of like a connection here, but I feel like it's almost following the same pattern of like cosmetic surgery as like the most obvious of examples, but you can extrapolate this to all different forms, like the AI filters and stuff. But it's the trend has become to more and more make things closer to the artificial versions of themselves, so that the more organic, natural, normal ones, they tend to stand out a little bit more. And I would almost, let's just say that computers have been running for a while, like maybe they gained sentience, like 20 years ago or something, and we just haven't realized it yet. Part of that would be pushing humans to make themselves look more and more look like computers or some standard inorganic sort of thing, so that when the AI or the cyborgs or whatever want to start infiltrating, the bar is a little bit lower. Like we're already uncanny valleying ourselves through music and through our aesthetics, that now when like an actual artificial being wants to sneak in and infiltrate, it won't have to try as hard because we're already making ourselves look like the artificial thing.
That is so true. From our hair to our being, like it's like we're becoming so what we consider aesthetically pleasing, but what is aesthetic to actual humans isn't evenness, but the computer likes that. And so we're making ourselves slowly like that, where you almost wonder how much of it is the computer teaching us to do, like in the Tyler
Well,
supercomputer
literally,
way.
the algorithm's the thing
Yeah.
that would keep showing you like lip filler or whatever the example is here, right? It would keep pushing that because it has its own self-preservation that's kind of baked into it, and it's just a very slow burn.
Oh, mine's totally pushing breast augmentation right now.
I don't know why my algorithm, my girlfriend's always like, what the hell are you teaching your algorithm? It's just like women breastfeeding, which isn't even like a think of mine. But for some reason, Instagram has fully decided that this is what like I want to see. It's just women breastfeeding nonstop.
My friend, his is women farting.
No.
He's like, I don't know why it's showing me this. It's like,
It's showing belly
and it's hard
dancers
to
for me.
explain away because then people are like, "Oh, what's your algorithm all about?" It's like, it's not me. I didn't do it.
yeah, that's not
Mine's
my
for
kink.
belly
trust me.
dancers for no reason.
Belly dancers.
I can't remember who I came up in this conversation with. I think I might have mentioned it on here before too. But just imagine if like let's say Elon Musk took over, Twitter, he takes over Blue Sky or whatever, a new platform, and instead of having this like laissez-faire attitude of like, let's just let the algorithm figure out what you like, let's just let it do its thing. What if they actually like rewarded the algorithm to push positive content, like uplifting content, things that like taught you things, kind of how China has their version of TikTok versus China's American version of TikTok, where for us it's brain rot, but for them it's like learning how to do crafts and things like that. What if all of the social media networks inherently promoted like beneficial content, as subjective as that is? The amount of like overwhelmingly, good that could possibly produce versus the bad that it produces now, where it just pushes like controversial hate content and things that make you angry because it engages like more interaction. But what if they like artificially forced good productive content that could change the course of humanity for the better indefinitely?
Rapidly.
But there's no incentive to do that, I guess. Like it's the strongest tool that we have right now is the social media, but yeah, it's being used to just sort of like masturbate our limbic systems constantly.
The craziest part of social media that nobody gets is all the fucking content that you want is in IRL. Like you have to do shit in IRL for the content to be worth a shit online. Otherwise, it's just like, I had a thought today. That'll go so far, but eventually everybody talks about content being king. Like that will be a commodity of its own. I don't know. It just
Well, yeah. People are becoming their own TV shows online. Like they're being funded and sponsored and getting paid on TikTok or whatever fucking app, and they're just their own TV shows. And it's mind blowing now. Like you don't even have to go to fucking Hollywood anymore. Just off
it's
your phone.
almost like they reality showed us on purpose so that we'd all get like, oh, that's how a reality show works. Anything. We'll just watch people talk about tuna fish and watch people like get in fights and YOLO and sada sa. And so it got us used to this in this way, so that when we all had our phones, we start Snapchatting. So at first you're just like doing it to your friends, you're on your MySpace, you're just doing it to people you know. And then it slowly expands out so that they like chase you. It used to be exclusive.
Yeah.
Who followed you, then it became the amount of followers that followed you. So instead of just like me going on and talking to people I knew, that it was exclusive, you didn't even let just everyone you meet follow you, didn't tell people
Yeah.
your shit. Then it became this thing like whoever had the more like whoever had the most amount of clout became the thing. So you weren't just talking to your friends anymore, now you were just talking to everyone in this way. I don't know, it kind of
That's what
like
talk
the
shows were.
reality, but then we in reality show of it all, they just made us watch monotony. Like it's not exciting, it's not the movies. And in the CGI of it all, I almost think they're teaching us the bullshit CGI so much, and this is so expensive, it's so unbelievable, it's so hard to do. And now we're watching these shows and it's like, Iron Man flying through whatever, and it all looks so real, twist, whatever's happening, like everything's broken. But in the easy mask puppetry kind of way, our heads don't, they forget in miniature kind of way. And like, I'm going to build a building this tall and blow it up, but I'm going to film it this close and you're going to think it's a skyscraper. Like that is the old tricks of Hollywood. Our brains don't know anymore. If you're old enough, you know it. But the new people, they're only used to CGI. They're only, a car explodes like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
They also have done that with us through talk shows. They kind of put us in that spell of like, okay, this is a talk show, one-on-one interview, or maybe 1-on-3. It's the host and like 3 other people, and they're all asking questions. That's what we're doing right now. This is like a talk show, but we call it a podcast now because we're in our pods, but it's the same fucking concept. That's what we're all, they train us to move into that space, I guess. Why? I don't know. It's
Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh. The bow and the stern. I always say the Rush Limbaugh and the Howard Stern of the censorship, and we all jumped on. They gave everyone a radio, and one of the ways that a company man, like somebody who came from Stern, who's the biggest person on microphone, is Joe Rogan. Like he was a Disney guy, a Stern guy. Like he came all the way up through the CIA channels. So I don't know.
In the ass how many times? I wonder. I don't know.
Hey.
33.
I mean, come on. You can't go that far without like doing some crazy shit. Like, come on.
R.I.P. Brian Callen.
Or that.
It is kind of crazy too. Like the one thing that you wonder, some of the people, Chris D'Elia's come all the way out. Everybody shunned him. There's like a bunch of proof and a bunch of things keep coming out. But then there are people like CFR banker Brian Callen. His father's a CFR banker. And then he had like did sexual discrepancies and stuff come out. You wonder about how many of the Me Too movement people were all it was fake and just shamed to shut them up, or how much of it was real and it was just quieted. Like, there was all these people churned up in the Me Too thing. Every other week we had a new name fucking coming out. And half of them were like, for real. Half of them were like a celebrity on top of the world. And they were some angry ex-girlfriend that's like, we had butt sex on a Tuesday and I'm pissed about it. He raped me. He abused me. And it wasn't true after it all came out. It's like these people just got shamed. You wonder how much of it was just like money grabs on a simple term, or if it was like more nefarious than that to like drag somebody's name through the mud so they never had any quote unquote clout anymore.
I mean, women are ruthless too. Like they'll pull some shit just to get a bag.
Well, we're still having a Me Too movement. It just changed names, but now it's like, who's the next Diddy accuser going to be? Like Diddy is the new kind of Me Too movement, and then after Diddy falls, it'll be the next one.
Is the new Me Too movement called Me Tua?
Cool. That was fucking wild.
Dude, but here's the thing that happens, because here's also the way the market works. So she released Hawk, and Hawk pretty much just tanked. They had 90% of the wallets. If you look at the bubble maps, like they pretty much, I don't,
And made
there's
money
things
off
about
fees.
her. I'm sorry. Oh yeah,
And
fees, gas fees, selling fees, like setting up the whole bank, all the things. But then CoffeeZilla, if you don't know who CoffeeZilla is, he's somebody who always goes after crypto scams. He goes after Jake Paul. Like it doesn't matter how big. Andrew Tate, like
And
what
she is
who,
Jake Paul, right? Like Hawk Tuah is Jake
that's
Paul.
the thing that no one talks about, is who is the 90% holders of this bag? Who gave her all the money to do this? She is on their podcast platform, like on the Paul Brothers podcast platform. So they're from YouTube. We all got censored for talking about Q or flat earth or jibby jabbies, but you know, the things that the Paul brothers kept getting away with and levels of it that YouTube was easily pushing their fame. Disney Kid boxing the world now on one side, and then you know, the blonde guy from Karate Kid on the other. I do like the brothers are so crazy. So then the Haktua girl comes out. She has her whole bag dropped. But so CoffeeZilla, a guy who investigates him, he also has a YouTube channel all the time. He goes in the room. They tried to go on X and try to make this statement. I think people should kind of listen to it. Even if you just want tea and you don't give a shit about crypto, even if you don't care about the Haktua girl. I've never listened to her before. This is the first time, but I listened to this X room of her where hi y'all, I just really like memes, and I'm just, you know, because this is the trick of her teddy bear. She plays dumb and Southern when it's perfect, but then you hear her in other interviews and it's like, oh, it's like she sets the bar low of intelligence, that anything she says she's not as dumb as I thought, but then she can always use it as this excuse. So she's like in this room just with the whole thing, these two weird guys, Doc
Looks
Hollywood
like a
and
George
some
Bush.
yeah, it's kind of like that, and some other guy, like weird crypto anonymous people that are like just talking in circles. And so CoffeeZilla comes up and he's all like, you know, this is bullshit, we're following all the wallets, here's exactly what happened, you're lying, da 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 da. They just don't give him the mic again, and all of a sudden, after a few more people that are going up and calling their bullshit, she's like, I'm going to bed, y'all. There was like 7,000 people in this room. There was people posting like, I lost $35,000 in this. Like
See,
people
I assume, maybe I'm being naive, but I assume that almost every person that was like, I took out a mortgage or I put 30,000, I thought that those were all people like making a joke. Like, you know, how dare you? You took my 30,000 life
there was a lot
savings.
of people joking, and then there was other people that are real fans of her. She promoted this on her website for a while. They set up a pre-sale. Like this was like a whole, there will be court with this, because this will get ugly. But every time something big like this gets ugly, in my opinion, it's for regulation somewhere. This is how they get their little regulation hands in the crypto market.
Yeah.
And so it, like insider trading is such a bullshit term. It just means one, like I would tell you guys something that I know, that a tip to one is insider trading to another. The problem is these cronies got too big to fail. Like it's just these like couple of weird things. So anyway, she does this whole fucking thing. They won't let CoffeeZilla have the mic again. So then after you listen to that, if you want that tea, you go to CoffeeZilla's space and you can see that he did it. They don't give him the mic again. So he's like, fine, I'll do my own space. Let's say 16,000 people are in his room. And they're like, we want to hear what he has to say. He does the whole thing. He lets people up to talk. People give their what they think of it legally. People give it financially. People are like pretty much like Thomas, like, are you fucking dumb? You invested $35,000 in the Haktua girl, real or fake? Like, are you dumb? Like kind of thing. Like some people.
There's another dynamic that's starting to that might happen with the Haktua thing, and this is kind of where the internet and maybe just humankind is sort of ingenious, where they might in spite start pumping it so that like she's already lost some credibility, might even be in legal trouble. I don't know how the law actually plays out, but now people are like, okay, here's this coin that's basically dead in the water because it was a scam, almost like Dio dead on arrival. But people will be like, yeah, but it's still a coin and we can still pump it and we can still like cause these waves and take over it. And I can almost see that happening just because that's what Dogecoin is, right? Dogecoin was originally created by a graphic designer, a guy that knew nothing about finance, nothing about programming, nothing even about crypto. And he was just like, hey, what if I, as a graphic designer, just make my own coin just as like a joke almost? And now, Doge is a legitimate coin that people are actually trading and using.
Well, the market cap is at 616,000. It did drop, but it still
From
has
like 20 million, right? Or something.
I don't remember, or what was it?
Or it might have been
till
like 50. It
July?
was a lot of money. It was many millions.
Yeah, it was a lot of money put into it for sure. But there's still a lot of people holding 9,000.
Well, here's
people
the other
holding.
thing that happened, like in real. So her coin was Hawk. And so after CoffeeZilla's space, he called his space straight to a prison. Immediately, some motherfucker made a coin called straight to a prison. This coin skyrockets for like a good period of time. It goes up to 20 million market cap.
Wow.
And a lot of people that lost a ton of money, they traded over their coin right away. So it turned into way more than they thought in the night. It mocked her enough that they just used everything about her scandal that was going on online. So then it was just like the coin she didn't create. But then I'm like, did they create both coins? Is this
Probably.
all a thing? Like, is CoffeeZilla already invested in Tua?
Control both
before
sides
we
of the
get-
pendulum.
Yeah, that's what you do. Then I was thinking it's so much more powerful if there's a competitive coin. So if I make, like, if Thomas makes the Bach Saga coin and I make the Bach Saga Sucks coin, but both of us have equal shares in the coin, us arguing online just sells money to both coins.
Yeah.
So that whole old Hollywood trope, all publicity is good publicity. So
Wow.
then they have both coins, Hawk and Tua. They can decide when to raise them both and crash them both, and they're the ones making all the money. And so it's a spit on
Dude,
your fucking wallet.
You're not wrong, because they use your emotion. They pull on your heartstrings throughout this whole fucking process of being invested, So why not add flame to the fire and make it a fucking competition? Like, oh, this coin versus that coin, or the Doge voice versus this, or this and that. It's always the pendulum.
Because all the energy goes to them.
Mm-hmm. Fucking A. Beautiful.
So
You might get a little high from it. You might get a little freaking bit of assets there, but really the biggest chunk goes to the energy structure itself.
The craziest part too about it, when Layla was talking earlier about watching candles and the whole chaos of it all and the up and down and the being excited and then being devastated and it's almost like they've taken, there's real life where you go through those ebbs and flows of emotion, and usually, like Abbie with the Medici, she's like, the chances that you're going to get spade, or heart. That's so rare, but it happens, but it's not really, it's kind of rare. So you almost wonder, with the exact same way how you could take the Medici cards, and because you can play them out, there's a form of time travel where you can almost play out your existence in a few different ways. So you can see how it would go. And then you're like, oh, this one thing, no matter what way I play it out, always holds me up. It's almost like they're forcing that in reverse, like death, birth, like a huge heartbeat, but they're getting all that loose in this fucking 30 minutes of time.
Yeah.
Candle, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. And it's like each one of those candles to somebody represents either somebody's heartbreak or I'm a millionaire. Every single one of the candles represents an up or down, that feeling for somebody, and however many people's wallet are holding that coin are carrying that emotion.
Adrenaline, anger, excitement, all of that.
Because emotion is energy in motion.
Emotional damage.
I'm just trying to think of the best name for a Bach Saga coin now. It's like the self-serve token, or
Bach
hodl
Saga.
yourself.
I think you call it UCK. So it's $UCK.
Nice.
Or like suck. That would be the coin name. Or you just call it $Bach.
UCK.
UCK. So it's just
UCK
the suck
was
coin.
Albanian tribes.
And I
who
don't mean
fought-
Bach sucks. I mean he actually sucks. Like
Yeah.
he wants to suck himself.
Uchika was the army that UCK was the army that fought against the Serbs in the war in Kosovo. UCK.
You
Uchika.
can't. Is it? No, it's not Orion. You can't ever make an Ursa Major pill.
Ursa Major.
Isn't that the one that makes the swastika?
Yeah.
We're taking it back.
Yeah, we're taking it back. We're
It's
gonna
just
call
a
it the
big dipper,
Ursa.
damn it.
We're gonna call it Ursa.
Ursa. That's actually clever.
Oh shit! People don't like bears
Why?
because it's bear market, bull market, which is such crazy. Like that's almost Titan shit versus God shit.
Huh.
Yeah.
Isn't there almost like a masculine feminine implication there too? Because a bear in the adult world would be like a feminine guy, right? And a bull is like a masculine guy.
A bear is just a gay man, but he's huge and hairy.
But by being, does that imply top or bottom? Because I
But-
assume that means feminine, right? That would be
No,
the
it just
feminine
means
energy.
he's huge and hairy. But here's the interesting part. So a bear, typically, you would talk about a gay man. A bull, you would talk about a masculine woman
Oh, I've never heard that before.
because it's a bull dyke.
Old Dyke.
Oh,
or a
okay.
bear.
Yeah, right.
So it's just curious that's the
Interesting.
Is there a name for an extra hairy lesbian?
I don't know.
Burnage.
I was like maybe Italian.
Ring.
It's easy for me to say with my little Irish arms a smiling.
Oh, Germans are pretty hairy too.
Germans are hairy too.
So
You know,
Albanians.
beep beep. Is that my bestie and a testy? I love that fucking song, by the way. She's my best friend. She's a real bad bitch. Got her.
There's another thing we haven't brought up. What about Britney Spears in Mexico now? And she reverted back to baby Britney that's only 5 years old.
It's so weird that she's bringing this stuff up. She's talking at her posts make no sense. Like, I'm so glad to be out of America. And it doesn't seem like in the same Ellen way. Like they're trying to make Britney, like, is she a political, but she's a Rachel Chandler. Like she's in
The way
all the
that she's
pictures.
saying it, I'm almost hearing it as if like there's someone trying to kill her and she's trying to escape like a hit squad that somehow has can operate with outside of the law in America, but now that she's in Mexico, she's safer from it.
Yeah, it seemed, and there's been posts previously that have talked about like I'm buried deep underground,
yeah.
and I'm the key. And so you just almost, but if you were to just take it in a detective way of like, what could we unravel with just like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with Britney Spears? Well, let's start with her Disney childhood and let's work up through her pop culture upbringing and her MTV and it's like the amount of just Britney and what she attaches to could be bigger than Diddy. But honestly, I've even heard things of the night that Britney is in the back of the ambulance. And people said like even it wasn't Perez Hilton, it was that other like gay guy, Bobby something, but he was a gossip columnist. He came out and he said Britney's dead.
Yeah.
And people are attaching Diddy to that, saying she was at a Diddy party. And so like Brittany Murphy and Britney Spears were gonna both die of like whatever pneumonia. And right after that's when Britney shaves her head, when she gets out of whatever mental hospital she goes into after said OD, when all of a sudden Britney was on drugs. People are attaching to Diddy to that timeline, the same as they're attaching Diddy to Tupac and everything. And they're like, oh, these files. So
I remember Britney dying because that was like 2005, I want to say. I remember seeing it in the headlines and stuff.
Yeah. Where were you when Britney died?
I know
where
exactly
were you
where
when
I was.
Bitcoin hit? You guys, I won't say it. I'll save it. I'll talk about it Sunday night. It's just so stupid. I just am like more into my stupid ideas, and this is what I like about the shitcoin market. For me, with my OCD and crazy head and my like autist like filing cabinet, something has like released that some of my stupidest ideas I can just put out. I don't care. No one knows I do them. They're just for me. No, there's never a coin that's sold. I don't even buy the coin when it's released. I just have to put it out there. It's like some weird thing that I was like, what is that energetically? That it's like I'm chalk drawing almost like on Mary Poppins, like I'm drawing something that I know is going to get rinsed away. What's the purpose? But it's like, it's not in one of my books. It's not in just on the computer on a file. It's not just an idea that takes up space anymore. It's like the second it's almost released once it's meant like just on out there. And I don't care at all about it financially. I'm like, oh, it's not my brain anymore. Thank goodness. I don't have to think about this stupid thought anymore. I don't know what it is.
This is like how all of my comic books start, is that exact feeling of like, I can't get this damn idea out of my head until you express it somehow, and then you can kind of let it go and move on to the next.
You're such a
Yes.
creator.
No, I can't. There's like when I'm actually working, like someone will be paying me for a task that's a creative task. Chaney, here's kind of, let's say they want me to design a tattoo for them. And I'm like, okay, they're like, here's what I want. And sometimes it's just putting together a graphic so an artist can hand draw it. Like sometimes they're just using me because I can throw together stuff quick graphically, so they can take that and have an artist give them exactly what they want with having somebody try to hand draw a whole bunch of in-betweens. And I was like, oh, they're like, no offense, a hand drawing artist, because you're paying everybody by the hour. A digital artist can give you 1,000 designs. What it takes a hand drawn artist to give you 2. And so it's like, if you can give the hand drawn artist, like, here's kind of exactly what I want, but I want it to be your style. It helps them like work so much easier. There was a point I was gonna say what I was doing with all that, but I totally spaced because I got to smoke real flower, marijuana.
I had a friend do that with one of my tattoos. I told him what I wanted, and he drew it was more cartoony than what I wanted, but I took it to the artist, and they
I remember what I was going to say. So when somebody gives me a task, the second they're paying me for my creativity, my brain breaks. Like
it's not
I
the same.
am so much more turned on by the idea. Like if Layla was just like, oh, like if I went to Layla's restaurant and she was like, oh, I have this idea that I want to do this, or I'm thinking about redoing my menu, I'll sit there all day. Like I'm so inspired by that. But if she was like, Chaney, can I give you $2,000 to do my menu? I'm like, oh fuck, it'll never be good enough. I'm just staring at it forever. But I've realized in the creative endeavors, and this is where the stupid coin thing, if I still let my brain have the ideas, but actually finish them, complete them, and put them out instead of getting off track in some long hand-drawn way, I just do a digital quick thing and it's out there for someone. I don't give a fuck, but it's done. I can do the paid stuff and keep that flow of actual creativity instead of it all of a sudden be, now you're paid for a thing. I don't even know how to explain it. But there's something that seems to be working in my head that I never gave myself the freedom of before, of like creatively getting off track sometimes, to really for the whole idea of your brain just being in that space of flow. And so the shit coin of myself help releases that.
Someone in the chat keeps saying splooge coin, and then it did this weird thing to my brain about that movie Holes, because like the
Which
peach
Shia
stuff that they
LaBeouf?
find. Yeah. But the holes of it all, and then they call the peach and onion mixture, like they call it sploosh.
Yeah,
Like,
that's such
yeah.
What
I
about
didn't ever
douche
think
coin?
about that until I just saw that splooge coin, and I was like,
Douche
oh
coin?
wait, that reminded me of holes, and I was like,
After I
holes, of
actually,
course.
because I'm lying about this one, and I want to tell you guys Sunday, and I don't want you to buy it at all. I just want to tell you how stupid the idea is, and I made like 35 graphics for it, but I just don't know what one I'm gonna go with. But I'm like, for me, it's like I'm a lyrics girl. I know some people are just into
Yeah.
the music of things. I'm a lyrics girl.
Me
So
too.
to me, as cool, and I like the digital view. I'm a designer like that. But for auditorily, the ticker name is everything. everything. Like, I'll buy it just because, for real. I didn't buy this one. Someone sent it to me, and so I thought it would, like, motherfucker, do I have Santa's dick in my wallet? So I had to send you guys Santa's dick. But then I realized some of the coins, it's not about the money. It's just about, like you were saying, that laughter currency.
Yeah.
It's just about making your friends laugh. And if it cost you 0.0003 cents, but you made them a millionaire in Santa's dick, amazing life. That is worth it. And
I
so
cannot sell Santa's dick. It's driving me crazy.
the only thing you can do to Santa's dick, this is what I'll tell you is the funniest thing. This is what I realized. And this is what made me laugh about the whole. And you'll see the price go up and down. You can't do shit with Santa's dick.
Pisses me off.
It's all a figment of your.
today.
Yeah, it's all a
You
figment
know
of your
why? Because
fucking.
Santa ain't real.
But yeah, so here's the funniest part about it, that I've realized that it's just another one of my favorite things of cryptocurrency. So sometimes just random people's wallets, like I could just go in any Coin USA and I could see all the wallets that ever traded this coin. Anyone, any in the world. And I could just pick one of them and I can send them Santa's dick. And so the only way to get rid of Santa's dick is you have to re-gift it. So it made me laugh to first send it to you guys. And I was like, I'm tired of this being in my bag. I don't know how to get rid of this. It started driving me crazy because I have OCD. So I was like, I can't stare at this anymore. I hate
It's been
even
driving
looking
me
at
crazy.
his dick.
Yeah.
And Santa's dick. I already have a thing with Santa. Like, I hate the fucking, I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. What the fuck? I think everything about Santa Claus, like, you're taking away, essentially back when, the father's hard work and money, and you're giving it to a strange figment man in the sky that brings it to you only if you're a good kid. It's like such a wild concept of Santa. And so then all these fucking songs come out, and I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. You don't know Santa Claus is your dad. You don't get it. So you're just like, my mom is a whore.
Mm-hmm.
Who would even kiss Santa on the mouth? He's disgusting. And this is the other creepiest thing about Santa. I don't know one kid in existence in the original forms of meeting Santa that doesn't go hysterical. And it's almost like a forced torture until you're about 6 years old, that then you're like, yep, I'll sit on this boner. Like, eventually you get to this fucking point that you're just like, okay, now I'm excited to see Santa in the mall. Even though in your little kid head, you know it's not Santa. Even in your littlest kid brain, you know that's somebody playing the guy that you... Fucking wild concept.
Yeah, and a lot of these parents hand off their child to a stranger, not knowing if they're like a fucking pedophile or anything, like getting some kind of weird sensation, just handing off your child to like some guy and sitting on their lap. It's just
they're
you're
elves.
taught your whole life as a kid, it's like stay away from strangers. But if it's a weird guy in a mall, then it's okay.
Weird.
Awesome. Yeah. I took my kids to see Santa once. They wouldn't go near him, and so I never did it again.
Or that, like, kids, I believe they have these really natural great instincts. So think of
They
like
do.
your parents were like, Thomas, no, you will go hug the priest. Like, and you're like, I don't want to play the way you do. Like, your kid instincts tell you don't like someone, and some adult forces you to do that thing. That's how most kids feel about men who play Santa. But
Yeah.
I would say, I don't believe being a priest makes you a pedophile. I think pedophiles are like, who everyone trusts in the neighborhood and is allowed to be alone with children. That's what I feel about Santa. And so here's the other break. We talk about Two Little Mermaids. So this way your parents are just dumb about everything. You guys can't even agree on the color of the Little Mermaid. Santa, you're trying, whatever your religion is, to teach your kids to have a faith. And then before you even teach them that for real, you teach them about Santa. And the argument about Santa always is, to me, 100% of the time when people get infuriated, they say to me, it helps with their imagination. How is me filling in the blanks of a fucking story help with anyone's imagination? They're not creating Santa. You're giving them an old fucking guy in a red suit that's running around telling you that he runs a sweatshop of kids, but he calls them elves. And he's telling you that he has a sleigh led by, and I think this over and over again, JP Morgan and his big nose, and like to walk in Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, even yelling out the spell Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitz. What are we saying? Santa, you should have been on notice for a long time. And I still think when like that would be one of the things, like if I were to be a person that wanted children, if I were in the dating world, one of my dating questions would be, would you teach your kids about Santa?
It's a good question because that's I didn't want to do
That's going on
Santa
the
with
list for our podcast.
yeah. I didn't want to do Santa with my kids. I was like, you know, why does Santa get credit for all the shit that I fucking buy them anyway? Like, right? The good presents.
Yeah.
I kind of
And
appreciate some parts of Santa, but mostly it's like it's a early way of telling your kids, hey, everyone that you respect can still be lying to you.
and that's my issue with it, is that I was pissed when I found out. And it's funny because I feel like it made me question God too, because I never believed in God when I was little. I was like, now that's
Yeah, that's
stupid.
dangerous. If you're still like accepting the concept of God and then you find
Yeah.
out this one thing was a big lie,
That I
then
believed
why
in
wouldn't
because you
apply
told
it to
me
everything?
and you showed me the evidence of it, and now, oh, that's not real, and you want me to expect that this imaginary man in the sky that I have to pray to and all of this is real.
See,
So I
it
didn't want
did
to do
that
that
for
with my
me.
kids. I was like,
It
you know what? I feel like that ruins faith.
for me it also ruined teachers because I was like, damn, that like these are the people that are in charge of educating me about like the reality of the world. I wouldn't get that deep in it, but I mean, I just got this feeling of like, now I can't trust anything my teacher has ever told me.
Yeah. That's
Or
and
your parents.
so my youngest, I never taught him
So
about Santa. He
insulting.
learned about Santa at school in kindergarten. So like I mean, I do the Christmas stockings, but I never gave Santa credit for anything. None,
I think most
never
people
even
learn
mentioned my
about
name.
Santa too by a public shaming of being a fucking fool.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
usually you're the fucking fool in the room when you learn about Santa. There's nothing good about it. It's like if you the Christmas lights and Christmas carols and doing the fucking thing, make traditions. I'm into it. But paying homage to something like it's just Santa's one of the dumbest
Wasn't
of all.
Coca-Cola responsible for the whole push
Yes.
of Santa Claus?
33 Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
We're gonna see Brittany in her Coca-Cola outfit in the next few days, spinning.
I don't know. I think Easter Bunny is probably the stupidest one. That was the one I didn't believe in.
But
It
it's
just
fertility. At least it's like
Yeah.
fertility. You're at least like, okay, this rabbit who we know has sex like rabbits and breed all the time, you're using this thing to do a fertility ritual. The dumbest thing is, well, it's not dumb when you're fucking worshiping deities to have kids go find the fertility rituals. Like the way Easter's gotten mixed in with church too, like
Yeah.
in that kind of way. But it's like somebody, it might have been Real Rye or Die, said Saint Nick. And then think of how Krampus, Saint Nick, how many fucking different deities do they give Santa credit to?
Yeah.
How many different deities is he wrapped into one that gets this God Santa? Like if we're talking in this way of Zeus, Santa gets way more power than Zeus.
Yeah.
Well,
Because the
Santa
faith of a
gives
child
tangible
too.
results. Like Zeus doesn't give tangible results anymore. And I don't know about how other people are raised with Santa, but I mean, there was a certain point when I was younger and I started pushing that boundary of like, I don't know if I believe this. Because, you know, a kid comes into class and they're like, only you babies still believe in that. But the line is usually like, well, Santa doesn't bring you presents if you don't believe in him. It's almost like a Tinkerbell. Like if you don't
Yeah.
believe in Tinkerbell, you killed Tinkerbell and now you can't fly anymore. So like that carrot gets dangled of like, well, I don't want to miss out on presents by just like denying the existence of this like Christmas god.
And it might have been you that said this on some show, but I always think about how they gave us this idea that a bad kid got coal in their stocking, where if you actually think about it, the kid with the coal provided warmth for his entire family, whereas the kid with the toy was selfish as fuck. It's like such a backward, weird, whole, like ungrateful that's blended all the way into literally a day. They're like, this is Black Friday.
Piece of coal. That's so weird. We know
But
if
they
you
don't
know
want us
me,
to
right?
have coal. That is it must be powerful coal because they're been in the works. They do not want us to have that natural resource.
They don't.
They want us out of them mines. They want us out of Hollow Earth. They don't want us in Agartha. Even if you're El Chapo, you're not allowed to dig tunnels.
Point blank. Period.
Unless you're Elon Musk, though. Apparently, you can totally fly satellites off military bases and totally dig under anywhere, and they'll let you do it. Even Los Angeles, earthquake prone, sure. Put an Alice, a machine called Alice that digs huge boring holes, connect electricity in cars. You're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And now he's in trouble in California, even though they let him do all that stuff. Now he's not allowed to do any of his shit
Yeah.
in California. What?
California.
And do you guys remember the time where Nancy Pelosi's Hammer Time husband, where like when all the fires lit in California and all the PGE boxes lit on fire, when people lined up those fires, it was actually a rail system that China wanted to put into place to do a super rail that was a big, huge circle that went down the coast of California. And apparently Paul Pelosi had made all these deals. And the reason he was a billionaire, if you follow his money, is all from China because of California. And so the Pelosi family, that's why like Gavin Newsom's her nephew and shit. Like the Pelosi family has just been running California for a really long time.
Yeah.
Well, that's just another mob family, right? Isn't the Pelosi's like we're connected to the mob?
Yeah, big time. It's almost like they got the mob out of Washington and gave them like, here, we'll let you have Chicago. We'll let you have San Francisco. We'll let you have New York City. And then they just became different families. Vegas, like different parts, like, but you stay out of Washington, let our politicians do our thing. We'll call on you if we need you. I don't know. Anyways, I will cut the stream. We have 247 viewers right now. If you guys are finding us on either YouTube channel, Secret Society of Good Guys or Project Chaney, or if you're on Rumble like a hardcore real truther, or if you've decided to just accept your slavery and go to X, we appreciate all of you that are watching. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe.
Love you guys.
Do you guys have anything you want to plug before we fly out of here?
Bigfoot comes out. I think drops Sunday. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's a cool little coin to look into. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, this
And
is
Jesus.
the last weekend that you can back the Illuminati comic with me and Donut. It ends on Tuesday night. So if you haven't backed it yet, it's freaking payday. You know, like before you go spending all your money on crypto or on Christmas presents, definitely back the freaking IlluminatiComic.com. We're almost at 40 grand that we've raised so far. We're trying to finish it out strong. We're trying to hit 50 over the next 3 or 4 days. But this is literally the last chance you'll get to get all of the cool extra bonuses. We're going to be like handwriting everyone's Illuminati nicknames and signing it, like things that you won't be able to get when it's just available on the store. So if you really want to support original conspiracy cool content from me and Donut, go grab one. And you just go to IlluminatiComic.com and pick a tier from $5 all the way up to $300.
Do
You
it.
get something real and tangible in your hand that is guaranteed to go up in value because you know you will not have paper or real art or
No
real
rug pulls
content.
here. No rug
No.
pulls
No
whatsoever.
rug pulls, and everything in there is probably guaranteed to be something that will be deleted off the internet if the overlords have their ways. And so maybe when they come for all of your big thick novels that make you look smart, they won't take your comic that has more all those put into one. Like, who knows? So back IlluminatiComic.com and make sure you follow everyone here on the stage. And if you are into crypto at all, hit Layla up. And you know, we don't mind
Chaney
geeking
up
out
too.
about it. Yeah, we don't mind geeking out about it. It's like as fun as any of the other things that are going on right now in our world. And being in real life first is always the most important. So get a comic. Use your Bitcoin winnings that you were intelligent enough to cash out with your diamond hands and get illuminaticomic.com. And
Yeah.
then
And you'll get our card too.
yeah. And then maybe we'll sign it for you at the next whatever meetup. But we love you guys so much. Thanks for putting up with my drive time and rave. And we will see you Sunday. And Thomas, you'll be out tomorrow night with Donut too, hanging out with your boyfriend.
Every damn night. And then we're doing a 25-hour live stream from December 10th, 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way until December 11th, 11 a.m. Eastern. You guys are all invited to pop in if you want. So yeah, we'll be going for 25 straight hours.
Damn. All
Oh
Y'all
my
are
gosh.
intense.
Maybe I'll come and go.
right. Yeah.
Maybe I'll come and go and keep it fresh.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
A quick like 15 minute. Hey, what up? Bra.
25 hours.
25 hours.
That
Never
feels
been
like
done
my
before
day-to-day.
in the conspiracy world.
All right. I like it.
You know what? It beats because when people used to take over MTV, it was like 24 hours of, and then so you're even doing 25 hours. So you're even beating the Illuminati by doing it. You're like, we're going full 25 hours. Don't tell us 24. I'm into it. It seems fun. Okay. I love you guys. We will see you soon. Bye bye.
Good night.
Can you save us, Britney Spears? Can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
Here comes Santa. Here comes the world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguist good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. The world we used to think we knew is constantly exposing woo. Our possibilities come true. So what we do is call out to the good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, MAGA, mystics, entertaining cunnilinguist good guys. The forum of the quorum needs a secretive society to advance our philosophies intentionally, magically good guys. Conspiracy, sex, culture, Jamaicans, it's okay to change your thinking. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys.
You're still here? It's over.